All right, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to Burnham Pavilion, where Stanford will be going up against the Bay Area Bandits, local college club team. It's going to be a real duel between David and Goliath here. You can see quite a variation of gymnastics. My name's Scott Burns. I am the head coach of the Bay Area Bandits. I'm happy to be here, happy to be talking, happy to be bringing you this meet this afternoon. I'm co-commentating with Blake Wilson. Blake, you want to say hi?
Yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks to Bandits for having me on today. My name is Blake Wilson, Stanford alum, graduated last year, and just stoked to be on the stream today and watch my former team take on Scott's team.
Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, I'm the head coach of the Bay Area team. I happen to be out in Dallas at the Liukin Invitational, so I have Thomas Lee, former Stanford gymnast, assisting me and coaching the team there on the floor. Blake, you want to talk about Tom?
Yeah, and Stanford's led by Coach Tom Gleamy. He's been the head coach for the last 100 years. So he's got a good squad this year. Today we're going to see a lot of new faces that we haven't been able to see before. A lot of the guys are competing at Winter Cup next week, so get to see a lot of freshmen compete, get to see some guys get some opportunities they wouldn't have otherwise. So I'm excited to see what Tom's squad is cooking up today.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see the full depth of both the teams.
Yeah, Scott, I mean, you kind of just mentioned it, but, a team's only as good as its depth. A team's only as good as its 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th guy. So excited to see Stanford's depth today. Starting off, we got freshman Arun. I think it's his first opportunity on floor today. Then we got Nick Kubler, J.R. Chow, Brandon Briones, and Brandon Wynn. So those four have had a lot of competition experience. So, excited to see Arun and excited to see what these other guys can do.
I mean, those guys might be maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th guys, but I mean, Blake, what of those 5 guys that are going, are there any of them that didn't make a junior national team or a national team?
Yeah, I think all these guys have been on junior team. Obviously Brandon Briones was Olympic alternate 2021. So Stanford's deep, but it's a whole different ball game once you get to the senior level. So I'm excited to see, a lot of these guys, like JR doesn't usually compete floor. Arun doesn't usually compete floor. Brandon Wynn actually tore his ACL last year, so it's good to see him back in the floor and vault lineup. And Scott, what can you say about the Bandits floor lineup today?
A real different lineup here. We really had to put a team together. The team really only has 5 guys on the team, and we're trying to go against a huge 24-person Stanford team that's loaded to the gills with national team members. So we got a couple guys here that are from SoCal United, basically made a California All-Star team, and a few other guys helping us out. But yeah, you got some good guys that are stepping up from their first year of being in college. Just stepping out at level 10, doing their best to meet the college rules. Evan Hymanson, he's doing his master's at Stanford. Obviously, when we see Curran, that's not going to be on floor, but I mean, he's going to obviously throw down big scores on P-bars and high bar. We all know him. So I'm pretty excited to see what these guys can do. Hopefully, what I told them is that my outlook for these guys is they need to do good, clean gymnastics. They don't need to throw skills and just for a start values. So I'm really more so looking at the execution here. Here goes Albert Chang. Albert's one of my former junior gymnasts, so he actually works out at my gym. I would not say that floor is his specialty. So very similar to like a J.R. Chow or someone else like that. He's filling in and competing the all-round where we need him and doing his best. But yeah, got to work on those landings. Got to get all that stuff together.
Gotcha. Yeah, good.
Not
good white arm
expecting
press there.
Yeah, that was pretty darn good. That's a tough one nowadays with how much height you get. I think people don't understand. I think you get, to let the viewers know, I think you get like maybe the height of a penny underneath your head, right? It's supposed to be the width of your hand, which is so small. I mean, you're so close to your head touching the ground and just doing a headstand when you're doing that thing correctly. It's nice to see some people in the crowd, especially, you expect Stanford people, but nice to see people there supporting the Bay Area and men's college gymnastics. All right, and dismount. Yep.
All right, nice double full.
First routine in the books for the Bay Area Bandits this year. And that's really what it's about for these guys. They're getting themselves ready for conference championships, which happens at the Junior Western Nationals, and then national championships for that, which happens in cohesion with the Junior National Championships, which will be in Oklahoma City in May. So just trying to get some experience in there so that they have a good time competing together as a team at those competitions.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like next up on floor is Mark Berlaga. It looks like that lineup that was up prior, I think was probably Pommel for Stanford at least. But up first is going to be Mark Berlaga. He's a sophomore this year. He was one of my freshmen last year. So, great kid. Super strong on rings. Doesn't make a floor appearance too often, but powerful gymnast. Hopefully, he can control some of his landings today.
He's great at layout, punch, double front. Yeah,
it's big. And he's a former Stanford boys gymnast, so he's used to competing in the Bay Area and didn't have to go too far for school.
No, it was really awesome to see him make that team. Anytime you see a local guy make Stanford or Berkeley's team, it's a big one up because you got community from around that Bay Area supporting him, and it's great to have a local guy on the team, because I think a lot of other colleges they actually have a lot more local guys, like Illinois and Penn State and stuff. So all right, here we go. Ooh, you can see the muscles on that dude's arms.
Yeah, I think he starts with that layout double front.
Oh, did he stick that?
He did, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, dude. Pike. Okay, dude. This guy has got some glue on his feet. Can we get that checked afterwards? He's like a pitcher. We're gonna have to check his feet have the refs check his feet afterwards.
Yeah, I might have to throw out the flag on this one.
Yes, I did. Tom's gonna end up putting Mark into his lineup all the time on floor. Just start him off, dude. Stick everything. Do a couple solid strength non-acros and lock out a huge score.
Yeah, and here you can see how strong he is. Maltese on the floor is not easy.
Oh my gosh, I just had a hernia watching that.
Oh, he sticks another.
Oh, he has not.
Can he get the golden sombrero? Oh, he takes a hop on the last pass, but that was a great routine from Mark. Good start from Stanford. And that's really what they're going for today. The goal's always, I don't think they're putting up 30 routines today, but the routine, 100% hit ratio, and try to stick those landings. So,
Oh, man, I can't believe he stuck all those other passes and then didn't stick that dismount, man. But, sometimes guys that are good at sticking forward have a tough time, getting themselves back together and sticking a backward pass. But, man, what a good routine.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, Mark really doesn't like going backwards. So he loves those frontward passes, and he did them very well today.
Yeah, that was great. All right, next up, we got Andrew Kersner. Andrew's actually a local guy too. He comes from Excel Gymnastics, so right up in near San Francisco, up there in that area, and he's just like Elbert, just came out of level 10 this last year. Wasn't sure what he was going to do. Contacted me and said, "Hey, let's do some college and club gymnastics and go for our best." He did hurt his ankle about a month ago, so not exactly sure how difficult this is going to be. But like you said, got to be clean. Gotta stick your landings and do your non-acros correctly, and then you can get an okay score no matter what you do.
Yeah, it looks like the first score for the Bandits came in. Elbert put up an 11.25 in the leadoff spot, and I'm sure they'll be looking to build upon that for the rest of the rotation.
Yeah, not great, but not horrible out of a 13.9 start value. You look at Mark, and Mark's got a 14.8. Obviously, his execution was incredible, we said, like with the sticks, but that's going to be the story of today, is just the difference in the start values.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can put up a 9.0 execution, any routine is incredible, especially with these NCAA judges.
Yeah, it's tough to explain to people. These guys in the NCAA, they're getting judged exactly the same as the Olympians are.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes don't realize that it's hard judging. They're looking at every little one of your 10 toes that you got and making sure that they're pointed and you're hitting all these angles. They got a protractor in their eyes, so it can be really quick to get a low score if you're not really concentrating. But at this level, they're all adults. They know what they're doing. They're pros.
Yeah, and Andrew definitely knows what he's doing right now. It's a great routine, very clean.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, not the most difficult, but all those landings were great. His non-acro was good, so that should be a solid score for the Bandits.
Thomas was happy with that. Nice to see the assistant out there, clapping it up.
And that's Stanford assistant Mark Freeman, helping out with the mat on the floor. He's a great assistant coach, multiple assistant coach of the year. He came onto the team my sophomore year and made an awesome impact on the team. And he's a great coach.
I just like talking to him with his British accent.
Yeah, I can't understand him half the time.
Yep, and I like when he calls me mate.
Yeah, that always feels good.
Feels good. That's right. It feels good.
Yeah, so Mark Balaga put up a 13.75 in the leadoff for Stanford. Next up is Kyan. This is his first opportunity in the NCAA. He hasn't gotten a chance to compete for Stanford yet, so big moment for him, and see what he can do.
Former Stanford boys gymnastics gymnast and gymnastics Olympica, because he ended up moving down to Southern California.
Yeah, big
so both
double
him
rig
and
and a half.
Arun. Yeah, that was great. I can see why he needed that mat there.
Big 2.5, has to take the hop forward, but pretty clean for the most part.
Whoa. I think that was a 3.5. Right?
Yeah, I have a Stanford degree, but I'm not always the best at counting. But I'll take your word for it.
Dude, it's happening so fast, man. I just had to go, wow, that was blurry. I think that was a 3.5, We're seeing a lot of these wide arm handstands today.
Really good one here, nice and low.
Nice hold length. I don't know if everybody knows that's watching, but you got to hold. Any held position has to be held for 2 long seconds, And it's tough when you're coaching kids to teach them how long an actual second is.
Yeah, good hold on that second press from Ryan also. Big triple twist with this stick. Raise the green flag.
Holy smokes. What a tornado that guy is.
Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking, first time competing in the NCAA, and kind of just did a great job. So good to see that. I think he's on a couple other events today. So good to see him get an opportunity and taking full advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, I don't know how much start value they lost there with that guy, but executed great, did some big passes. We both were confused if he did a 3.5 or not. That's how you know it's good, because he was spinning real fast. So, yeah, heck of a job. His junior coaches, Paul and Arthur, would probably be pretty dang happy. So let's see here. Bandits, Andrew got a 12.35. Not too bad in the execution there. A little over a point off. I think Elfie and Tim Daggett would have their little little chart up that would show you right now what it's a good execution or not, right? Like if it's a 1.5, this is a green, it means that's a good routine, right? Isn't that what they would do?
Yeah, maybe put up the yellow marker, put up the green marker, but yeah, good score from Andrew. What can we see from Will Pierce?
Well, Will, here's the thing about Will. Will comes from he actually comes from American Gymnastics. Great gymnast. Did his 4 years down in Southern California. Graduated from Santa Barbara. Competed for SoCal United. He's doing a little bit more education right now. We need to fill in some spots. He's in shape and been competing routines. It's not going to be anything too crazy, but it should be clean. We're talking about a very experienced gymnast here, not. Whereas the first two guys were freshmen just coming out of level 10, first college competition ever. This guy's done it a few times, so I'm expecting some good execution and just a good clean routine. And then we're gonna really quickly ramp it up and all of a sudden be at Evan, and he's gonna be throwing his 5.8 or whatever. All right, nice 2.5 layout, not too bad.
Good pass. That'll get a 10th connection bonus.
A little short, right? That far corner for me, I can't really see that well.
Yeah, I know his hand got close. I don't know if he touched the ground or not, but good recovery on that pass. Big hop forward, but was able to keep it in bounds.
Everybody loves the Stanford floor, man. And if you don't have a floor that's comparable, and then you go and compete on this floor, you got to really control your nerves,
Yeah.
You were always really great at controlling your nerves and having a really, really good, solid routine on floor.
Appreciate that, Scott. Thank you.
Hey, nice stick there at the end. That's really even if the routine is a little bit rough, it's really great to stick the dismount and really polish it off, and leaves a good thought in the judge's mind.
Yeah, definitely. It's the last thing the judges see, and that'll get a 10th bonus too. So, you're not getting any deduction for a step or a hop, and you're getting a 10th back. So, a lot of dismounts going on today, and that can make a big difference in a team score.
I think when it comes down to this meet for the guys, they, at least my guys, they are super excited. I mean, they are competing against, national team members here in a college competition. So I think there's a lot of nerves right now. Their first event, really hoppy. But I think that's due to them, the excitement and what they're able to do right now. So pretty happy so far. They'll get it together, calm it down. But they got to keep watching Mark put this sting mat in the corner and get ready for a big old pass. Zachary Martin.
Yeah, another 13.75 from Cayenne. So, first routine for Stanford and a really good score. So, obviously set a new career high with that one. So he's got to be happy with it.
Yeah. 13.75, man. I need to buy some of those for my kids. Is this Zach, though?
Yeah, this is Zach Martin. He's a senior now. He's from Elevate Gymnastics in Northern California, Sacramento area. So he was on the team with me for 3 years. Great guy, great gymnast, great on floor. He's competed almost every competition on floor, so he's very experienced. Yeah, floor vault, some horse, some rings. But yeah, very explosive. One that's really good at landing. So hopefully we can hone in on those today. And he's got a big set.
5th year guy? Using his pandemic year or something like that?
He's senior this year, so 4th year, but we'll see if he comes back next year.
4 maybe with an asterisk?
Yeah, 4, maybe 4.5.
He looked like he was a little bit pumped for this routine too, huh? All right, that was nice. Oh, little nice little Kohei side pass into an awkward pike there. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, interesting way to get from one corner to the next, but...
Now, I heard that you guys never call him Zach. Is that true?
Nah, his name's Jack, not Zach.
Yeah, that's what I heard, man. I heard that he never gets called Zach, but that's all right. You know, when you put up a high score on ball and high score on floor, we'll call you whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the name Zach Martin pops up, and I don't even know who that is.
Who's that? Clean.
Yeah, nice 1.5 punch tuck full there. Little hop, but should only be a 10th.
Whoa, was that a 3.5? That had to have been. He couldn't have did.
That was a 2.5, but a little short on that landing. Looked like his foot slid a little bit, but he was able to, stay on his feet at least. So.
Yeah, just didn't stand up quite enough right out of that round off, so he couldn't really quite lean forward onto his toes when he landed.
Yeah, just a little under rotated. Twist was good, just, didn't look like he was quite ready for the landing.
All right, next guy we got up is Josh Howard. I actually haven't been able to watch Josh compete that much. He competes for SoCal United, and we just needed to poach him over for this meet. He actually goes to Berkeley, but he's not on their team. So
gotcha.
This should be interesting to see. This will be my first time watching him, and so I'm just as blank as anybody else here as to what's going to happen, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Hey, should I take a picture of this score right now? Like each time, should I take a picture of the score each time before they put in the third score? Just be like, we're leading.
Whatever makes you feel good, Scott.
Well, I just won't let anybody else know what actually was happening.
Yeah, 13-4 from Zach, so a little bit lower than he'd like, but, it was good he was able to keep that dismount on his feet, or else it would have been much worse.
Yeah, and the first pass was a little bit over-rotated, so he has that potential to score a 14 easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it was a nice 2.5, kind of short at the front. Probably was supposed to be a layout. It's all right. Double Arabian, he's having a little bit of a tough time going hard enough, a little bit. Usually when this happens, people are trying to stick their landings, and they're just doing it a little bit too early. So yeah, it's good that he got that back together.
Yeah, whenever you try to stick, it usually doesn't go well. Coach Tom Galimi always says, go big, and, if the stick's there, stick it. If not, take a hop forward.
Yeah, you got to try to land first. That's the name of the game, is land. And then when you are feeling balanced, you stick that thing, right? So good to see he's back on his feet, though. He's getting this back together. Hopefully he sticks his dismount here. All right, little step. Like I said, haven't really seen him. Some good passes there, though. He's a good tumbler. Just gotta get some more experience in, I think, and not try to overly stick things before he has the chance to.
Yeah.
So obviously, probably not going to count that score.
Yeah. So for the viewers tonight, typical NCAA meet is 5 up, 5 count. But this technically isn't an NCAA sanctioned meet, so the top 3 scores from each team count for the team's overall total on each event. So there's some room for some missed routines, given the nature that it's not 5 up, 5 count.
It's a good format for both teams where, Stanford had a bunch of guys a little over a week ago or 2 weeks ago that had COVID, so they're just coming off that. They've got a little bit of a recovering team, and my team's a little bit small and hasn't competed that much, so it's a great format for both teams to be competing in this weekend, the week before Winter Cup. That's the other thing, is Stanford is obviously resting some of their guys to go compete at the Winter Cup Nationals.
Yeah, Winter Cup's a 2-day meet. I don't know if their first day of competition's Thursday or Friday, but big weekend in gymnastics, big weekend to try to get on the national team. So those guys are doing what they need to be ready for that next week. Yeah,
it would really suck if you were on Stanford's team and you're coming out to compete and you hurt yourself the weekend before you are going to go to try to make national team. So good on Tom, on the way he periodizes and rests the guys and makes sure that they're ready for their competitions.
Yeah, and it's also just a good test to see how deep you truly are. You know, once those top guys are out, you know, how well can the team do? Do you guys step up? Do you guys, you know, how do they do under pressure when they haven't gotten some of these opportunities? So, you know, it's tough not seeing those guys in the lineup, but you know, a lot of good opportunities available tonight. So now we're going to see sophomore Nick Kubler. Big double to start.
He can do the double, but he can't stand.
Nice front full double front. Like you said, Scott, I don't have a super good angle on that corner, but I think that was a stick.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Okay,
another stick on that double pike.
He's trying to make up for that little transition he did after the first pass, man. Sticking them all. Whoa!
2.5 looked great. Just wasn't ready for the ground there, and kind of knees crumbled a little bit, and that was supposed to be a layout, but you know, nice little 3/4 front flip.
Yeah, like you said, the 2.5 looked so good, man. I wasn't really expecting that.
Yeah, it just looked like he wasn't really ready for the ground right there. But good to see, you know, back on track with that double full. And I believe he's doing a big double Arabian half out for his dismount.
Oh, baby. Oh!
There it is, just not big enough. So he's going to be disappointed with that one. But, you know, potential to be a big routine if he hits.
Oh, man. Huge. Once again, another guy who was on junior national team when he was younger, for sure. Region 2 gymnast, too, Nick Kubler.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome guy.
Yeah, from Seattle. Has some of the best basic gymnastics there is. His technique is great. And, yeah, I mean, big tumbling passes just didn't happen tonight.
He's really upped his strength game over this past year, man. I mean, or past 2 years. He's gotten so much stronger as a college gymnast.
Yeah, right, he's gotten a lot stronger.
Yeah. Next, we got Evan Hymanson. Evan is actually doing his master's work in engineering at Stanford. So he works out at Stanford. He doesn't work out with the NCAA team, but he works out at Stanford and then competes for us. He actually has a pretty big routine. He's actually already qualified for Winter Cup, so he will be competing at Winter Cup next weekend. And so he's using this meet, and he's used a couple other meets to get himself prepared for that. And we're excited to have him on the team. He really helps out, and you know, it's always good to have a guy that's making everybody else push their star values.
Yeah, he graduated from the University of Nebraska a couple of years ago. Had a great career there. Was on the team all 4 years, and now he's just continuing his career. Big double pike to start there.
He also competed for the U.S. team in the Maccabee Games. I don't know if I'm saying that word correctly, but the Jewish Olympic Games, or last year he was on that team, and pretty sure he medaled a couple times. Nice Randy there, if you couldn't tell. So far, solid landings.
Yeah, some good non-acro. Just making sure to hold those. Almost. Announcer's curse right there, I guess. But
dude, why, Blake? Dude, don't be talking about my guys no more, man. All right, before they finish, you know. Well, what you didn't know is I wanted him to show a planche and then press back up. Yeah.
Gotcha,
yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what the judges were looking for too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
big combo pass there, 2.5 layout, right, and at the end too. I always think that's tough.
Triple full. Big step back, but good routine from Evan. That should be a good score, and that'll wipe away one of the scores, I think, from the Bandits.
Yeah, you know, minus that non-acro curse you gave us there. I mean, that was actually a pretty darn good routine for him. So we'll see what the end score ends up being. Right now, you know, you got 40.9 to 35.25, and these scores you know would usually be if this was an actual NCAA meet. then they would be in like the high 60s or 70s. So definitely a different look today as far as scores are going. Blake is restarting his computer right now. Actually, his computer is making him restart it. So Blake will be back on in a minute. But hope everybody's enjoying the meet. We got some scores up here on the screen. We got a tie on floor for first place with 13.75 between Mark Balaga and Kyan. And that's, you know, not too bad. Pretty good scores. 8.95 execution from Mark is huge. 8.65 is, you know, not that bad from Kyan either, really, to tell you the truth. Andrew Kersner up there. They still don't have Evan up on this score list yet, and I would think that he would end up scoring between a 12 or 13 or so. So, you know, that board might change a little bit. Zach Martin in third place, even though he had that awkward dismount, a little over-rotated on his second pass. But like we said, high difficulty level, big scores. And there you go. There's Evan. Evan came in with 12.8, 7.1 execution. And I think that non-acro really killed him there. And that's, you know, you gotta, when it comes to gymnastics, you can do all of the big twists and all the big flips and, you know, land your passes and stuff like that. But if you don't take care of the little things, then your score can really end up being affected. So next event, Pommel horse. Looking at Stanford's list, they got Arun going first, J.R. Chow going second, Luke McFarland going third, Marcus Kushner fifth, and Koi Young, or fourth for Marcus Kushner and fifth Koi Young. And we got Elbert Chang, Andrew Kersner, Ezekiel Eason, Will Pierce, and then Evan Hymanson going. So right now they're going to be warming up. I'm going to see a few guys, and then I think they warm up a few more guys and then go. It's a little bit of a different format tonight. Usually when you watch a college competition, the guys warm up for an hour and a half before the competition starts, and then they get a 2-minute one-touch period is what they call it, which is basically you get to go up and kind of take a turn to make sure that you still feel okay to do the event and that the event feels cool. Kind of a little re-warm back up. And then everybody salutes. This format today is true dual format, and there are some events where some of the teams are not going to be able to throw up as many, like I said, due to COVID or whatever else not. So going to have a little bit different of a warm-up format and salute. Bear with us. Hopefully Blake will be back on in just 1 second. Blake is from Sega Gymnastics. Actually, he's actually from now what would be called Agility Gymnastics. Coach Adam Lomax. If you don't know him, great coach. So I've known Blake for quite some time. We're talking about it beforehand. I've known Blake since he was 8 years old or so, and so it's great to be on this stream with him, talking out Stanford, talking out my club team. I just love gymnastics. I guess that's what it is. Got the looks like the end of the touch time here. So we got, looks like Arun finishing up his back full travel, which they call Savato. There you got a 360 travel, which is called the Roth. This is Will Pierce. Does a big flaring routine. Does a lot of skills in flares. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Has a very good pommel routine if you can put it all together. That was almost a really smooth dismount right there. That's 720. if you like to watch pommel horse, this guy right here, Coy Young, I mean, he's kind of the man, one of the men right now on pommel horse that's really putting together some big gymnastics. Got to open those flares out a little bit more as it comes down. But we want to talk about space in between your body and the pommel horse. Coy Young, he's got enough space to fit a car in between his body and the pommel horse. This is Evan Hymanson warming up. So here, you'll hear probably Blake and I talk about Magyar, which is when they travel from one end of the pommel horse all the way across, going forward. Like I said, the backward one is called a spotto. So first we got a Arun Chitri up. Like I said before, he's from Gymnastics Olympica. If you don't know where that gym is, down in Southern California, on the LA area. Great coaches, great coaches. He was on junior national team a bunch of times. I don't know quite all of his accolades, but he's got a bunch of them. Freshman on Stanford. So far, good clean gymnastics. Little leg separation there. Really nice and hollow though during the rushing or the turning parts of his circles, which is what you're looking for. It's got a little skew going on, which means that one hand is slightly in front of the other. That is a deduction per circle. But man, when you hit a pommel horse routine, whether you got a little skew or a few little deductions, you're always happy, you know. And that was actually, you know, not the highest of difficulty routines for Stanford, but when you want to talk about starting off a team on an event that's nerve-wracking, that's the type of guy you want to put up, a guy that's going to hit the routine and take a little bit of the pressure off the other guys. You can see Asher Hong in the background rubbing someone's shoulders, trying to get him pumped up, you know. Pommel horse is, it's really nerve-wracking because it's pretty easy to fall on this event. Maybe you would relate it to beam, I guess, because women fall off the beam pretty easily, but definitely a different event than beam. It's just a little bit more of a nerve-wracking event because at any time, you know, wrong hand placement, or you lose the rhythm of your circles, or you know, you just brain fart for a second. You're all of a sudden off the pommel horse, and so it's as much of a mental game as it is being physically ready to make your pommel horse routine. All right, next up here for the Bandits, we got Elbert Chang. He's got a pretty good start value routine when it comes to pommel horse. Let's see what he's got. Supposed to be that first skill. It's supposed to be called a McCulloch. Sam McCulloch invented it. Full Kier right there. That's a heck of a skill. They call what he just did there, when you're on one pommel doing circles, they call that a flop sequence. Oh, that's unfortunate. Looked like he was going good, just maybe took a step backwards a little bit early before he was ready to do it, fell off. And like I said, that's what happens on pommel horse. You make a little misstep, you brain fart a little bit, you know, you're off. Well, guess what? You're off the pommel horse too. So you got to be mentally sound, and you got to be ready, and you got to be practiced. Otherwise, pommel horse will throw you off like the horse it is. All right, so all he had to do was finish up and do the dismount. Oh no! Did not set himself up leaning the correct way on the dismount. So we'll see if they give him credit for that. Not exactly sure that he would get credit because that was a huge arm bend. That arm bend is so big that if you bend your arms past 90 degrees on most skills, you are not going to receive credit. Now, if you're a parent that's been watching your son for a while and you have seen your son get credit for a skill even when he bends his arms that much, because judges are a little bit nicer on junior kids. Once you get up to this level, you're a college gymnast, FIG, you know, elite gymnast, you can't bend your arms that much. You're not going to get anything from it. So hopefully hopefully he can get it back together the next time he competes, because that really just should have come off a little bit better. He cost himself another fall by not getting credit because he had to get back up and redo the dismount again. So Stanford had a good start. Bandits not quite as good of a start on Pommel horse. You got Arun hit a 13.3. Definitely not a bad score when you're talking about Pommel horse. If you don't know a lot about gymnastics, the events a lot of times score differently. You're not going to just expect the same score on every single event averagely. Blake's back. Blake,
you can hear me, Scott?
Yeah, buddy. I did the commentating for Arun. He did a pretty darn good job. Hit his routine. It was kind of basic, but hit it. So, you know, I told everybody it's really what you want for the first guy on Pommel horse. Somebody comes up and hits and takes the pressure off.
Yeah, it's all about just setting the tone for the rest of the rotation. So, you know, one hit fuels the rest of the run. So, you know, Arun did a good job. You know, kind of fun fact about Arun, you know, freshman year, everyone on the Stanford team gets a kind of upperclass mentor. So my mentee when I was an upperclassman was Jeremy Bischoff, and now Jeremy is Arun's mentor. So Arun is my grand mentee. So I'm proud of him for starting off the Pommel horse run well.
I didn't know that there was such thing as a grand mentee. I like it. I'm gonna start using it.
Makes me feel a little old, but
yeah, man. Wow, the flares outside the handles. You know, the speed on this, great. Full spindle was a spindle is when you turn the opposite way that you're circling, basically. Here's another flop sequence like we talked about. Really working it here. Obviously, JR is pretty experienced though in Pommel horse and hitting his Pommel horse routines, and yeah, that was a hit routine, man. You can see the team loves it. He loves it too. Stanford's on a roll right now on Pommel horse. I think that they felt what Oklahoma did to him the last weekend on Pommel horse and have started putting it together, huh?
Yeah, that was a great set. Good second routine. You know, Pommel horse is an event Stanford's kind of struggled with this year. They have yet to really put up a solid number on horse or put up a good run with, you know, 5-hit routines. So good start for today, and hopefully they can continue that with the next 3 guys.
Yeah, you got 2 guys already on Stanford that hit. You know, definitely what you're looking for. First 2 guys hit, boom, let's go. Elbert scored a 10. I don't know if you saw the routine. He fell starting a Salvato and then botched the dismount a little bit. Then his arm didn't get credit for it. Had to get back up again. So I was letting everybody else know that the arm bend rule and not getting credit for skills. And especially if you, obviously, folks, if you don't get credit for your dismount, the routine is not over. I mean, I guess it could be over, but you're going to get a low score, no dismount.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next we got Andrew Kirchner. Actually hurt his wrist doing a Healy about 2 months ago. So had to take a lot of time off Pommel horse. Was at one point in time doing full Kier and a few other moves. Had to water that down a little bit to make sure that he could do a routine. So hopefully he executes real well here and stays on, because we need a solid score here to keep up with this big Stanford team. Okay, another McCulloch. And then it's like a mini McCulloch to go back into the middle. I think that's what I'm gonna start calling that, because it doesn't really have a name. Wow, he put the full Kier back in. You gotta love that, right?
Yeah, that's difficult.
That's a tough one to put in, and he's finishing strong, stays on. Come on now. All right. You gotta love that, man. Second guy up. Put in a skill that he had taken out. It's not bad. Like I told everybody, you stay on that Pommel horse and you hit, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, you stay on horse, that's a win. So
Yeah.
at least it was when I did horse.
Hey, dude, It's probably been a win since 1920 if you stay on the Pommel horse. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that's changed about the event. It's nerve-wracking and it's hard to stay on.
Yeah, so
Especially
next
when
for
you're
Stanford.
Yeah, and especially for the team that's going against a 3-time in a row national champions. You know, sure my guy's arms are shaking. I don't know much about Luke McFarland. Give me some background here, man.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. Comes from, I think he lives in Connecticut, or his family's from Connecticut. So region 6 or 7 guy. You know, fun kid. Didn't get a lot of opportunities to compete last year. His shoulder was kind of hurt most of the year, but he's got some big gymnastics. You know, Pommel horse isn't necessarily his biggest strength, but you know, he's got some big skills, and he's looking to just build. I know he was pretty disappointed last year, you know, kind of being hurt most of the year, but he's got some pretty looking gymnastics.
He's got some clean lines, man. He's got a good looking toe point there. Got a little bit off on that first flop sequence and got it back together, and now he looks real solid.
Yeah, he's getting through it.
Keeping it clean, dude. I gotta say that. Not a lot of little foot separations.
Yeah, you'd like to see a little more height on that last Russian to flank off, but other than that, great set from Luke. I honestly don't know how many times he's competed horse, so good to get up there and hit a routine.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when it comes to Stanford, like, you know, figuring out their depth here, I mean, this is a really important meet for them because now they're going to be able to use any of their guys at any point in time because they've now all competed and they all have experience. Tom will know what they can score. So, yeah, this meet is a heck of a test for them. That was a great routine. I really thought he did an awesome job. Like you said, that dismount, man, it's hard to get that Russian flank to be that high. You know, it's supposed to be at 45 degrees. Shoot, you might as well be going to handstand.
Yeah, and like you said about the depth, you know, it makes it really fun. You know, at Stanford, we have a practice competition every Wednesday that basically determines the lineup. And sometimes there's, you know, 2 tenths that separate the 3rd place guy from the 8th place guy. So, you know, makes it hard on the coaches to select lineups and just super competitive all around, which makes it fun. Sometimes it hurts when you're a 10th away from making the lineup or traveling that weekend, but I mean, it makes everyone better.
Yeah, it probably makes you more competitive. You know, you lose by a 10th, you come back the next week and try to get that back. Next, we got up at Ezekiel Eason. Ezekiel is actually a junior at San Jose State. He went to Excel Gymnastics. He's been competing in NAIGC, and because I started the club, he decided to join up and compete for us, and so we're happy to have him. Hasn't been really like regularly training up until he joined our team, so you know, been working with him a lot on trying to get solid routines together. Obviously messed up the check here there, or what some people call a more. You know, maybe a little bit. He gets really hyped. I'm just gonna say that straight up off the bat. He gets super excited about competing. He gets super excited for the team. And sometimes those nerves can really make you do some bad things, right? Yeah. Like that. He got a little bit tight. You know how it is. You know, you get too much nerves, you get a little bit crazy. Your muscles start to tighten up. You know, you all of a sudden can't move fluidly anymore like a gymnast is supposed to. And at that point in time, you just got to get up and finish that routine like he is right now.
Yeah, on the bright side, it did look like he got credit for that Magyar, so that'll at least help his difficulty score.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen him hit that routine many times much better. It looks like they're saying that he didn't get credit for something, so he's going to have to go back up and redo something. Yeah. Otherwise, he's not going to have enough skills, I don't think, for them to count his routine. So this is really going to affect his score. Luckily, the format, we only have to count 3 scores. So gotcha. Even if he has a bad one, you know, right now, this is, like we said, this is the meet to do this at. You know, he'll fix that, not do that at conference. Next 2 guys hopefully can cover up for him and do their best. But, man, you look at Stanford and talk about consistency. They've got the next two guys are going to get I'm going to tell you right now, 13-6 and a 13-7. And then they would have a 13-3, 13-4, 13-5, 13-6, and 13-7. And there you go, man.
Yeah, so next up is Marcus. He's a freshman this year. He was also one that was on the Stanford Boys Club, so he's super familiar with Stanford, and Mark Freeman was his head coach at the Stanford Club. And I believe this is his first opportunity to compete for the university. Pommel horse specialist. I think he won a couple national titles as a junior on pommel horse. So he's got a big routine, great extension. You know, as you can see, he's taller than most of the team, which looks really good on pommel horse. So hopefully he can put together a good set here and keep Stanford's momentum going.
Yeah, before he went to Stanford, I know he was at West Coast Olympic Gymnastics with Vince Miller, and if I know Vince is watching. If you, I'm not going to toot his horn too much, but if you know Vince Miller, you know pommel horse, and you know he's going to put out a good pommel horse gymnast, and I think that's, you know, part of where a lot of this routine is going to come from. Vince really set him up with a good base, and then he went to Stanford Boys, and now is at Stanford, and hopefully they're continuing that. Got a real nice long swing there. Hopefully he keeps it up and doesn't let that tighten up too much.
Yeah, great extension on these circles. Some pretty difficult travel elements. Just the dismount. Gets it up really nice. Little delayed on those pirouettes, but, you know, first time competing for Stanford, I'm sure he was nervous, but, you know, great routine from Marcus.
Yeah, how many firsts did we have here? Or was that Arun's first, and Luke's first, and Marcus's first?
So I thought Arun was going on floor, but I don't think Arun even does floor. But so I know Kyan, first time competing for Stanford. Now Marcus, first time competing for Stanford, but they're competing like vets, so it's good to see.
Staying on, you know, it's always good as a college team to be able to rely upon someone to get up and make a routine, you know, like you said, the depth.
Yeah, I think depth is even more important on pommel horse too, just because, you know, one week you can be really off on horse, and there's got to be guys that step up, and you know, pommel horse is a pressure cooker, so, you know, you got to get guys that are confident in their routine, and, you know, no matter the circumstance, can hit a good set.
Look at that, Marcus tied Arun.
There you go.
And you can't be too unhappy with a 13-3. Obviously, like you said, you know, maybe it's not Stanford's best event, and we've seen like Oklahoma is starting to throw up big scores on pommel horse. So I'm sure that when Stanford gets it all together and they really get their full lineup going, they're going to have even bigger scores than that.
Yeah,
right.
5-1 start, so 1.8 off, but yeah. I mean,
yeah.
He stayed on.
1.8 isn't necessarily too bad on pommel horse when you think about it, you know? All right, this is Will Pierce. You know, from knowing his routine and from watching his warm-up, tons of flares. Really fun routine to watch because it's different, you know? You gotta love watching a routine that's different than you're not just seeing the same circles over and over again. Big long arms, man, right? To be able to reach outside those pommels and do that turn around those pommels. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody is genetically inclined enough to have arms long enough. Not too bad getting that dismount up. A little pause at the top, but otherwise pretty fluid, pretty nice routine. See Brody coming over, giving him 5. Yeah, so, hey, we'll take it. Maybe that'll cover up for Ezekiel's 7 there.
Yeah, I love seeing those flare handstands.
Ah, yeah, man. It's got a nice look to it, you know?
So last up for Stanford is Coy Young. Coy has the potential to be NCAA champion on pommel horse. He's got a great swing. I don't know what routine he's doing today, but the potential to have a extremely difficult pommel routine. He's been on the junior national team, you know, great gymnast and great extension. So I'm excited to see this routine.
I will say this, and it doesn't really have a lot to do about gymnastics, but I like him with the cornrows better. No, but before you got on, I was saying to everybody, because he was warming up, they showed a little bit of the warm-up. To me, he has some of the most air between his body and the pommels. I was saying you can almost drive a car beneath him when he's circling, you know, and that's all, that to me is always very impressive and good to watch. Is you know it's a good circle, even if you don't know gymnastics. You're like, wow, this guy's flying.
Yeah, he makes pommel horse look really easy, which is a hard thing to do. Even if you're good on horse, sometimes it still looks like it's hard. But you know, Coy keeps a really good rhythm the whole set typically, and big pommel horse guy. So, and he works hard at it.
I wonder who's judging. Who do you think's judging? We got a sleeve right there in the right corner. There was a sleeve there. You have to guess based upon that dress shirt sleeve.
I would say probably Show, but I'm not sure.
Nope, you're wrong. Show's at a junior meet. I think that's Tom Coots. That's what I'm going to go with. But here comes Coy Young. Yep, you can see that big, deep breath out, getting ready, getting set to really just throw down, like I said, getting the nerves out.
Yeah, great scissor handstand, flew right up. And
I almost didn't even realize it was a
Ari.
scissor handstand. Yeah, it was so sick.
And yeah, Scott, like you were saying, just that impeccable execution and the extension. He just flows through the routine.
I can see people underneath his body through him while he's circling. It's insane. Someone could wave to me underneath him like, hey, Scott, how's it going?
And flies right up on that dismount. That was a beautiful routine.
Okay.
He'll be happy with that one.
That's what Stanford wanted to see right there. I'll tell you that much. And even if you're an opponent, man, you got to love watching a routine like that. If you like gymnastics, you see someone nail a routine like that, you know, it just makes you happy to see something good like that. I remember back, oh man, he's going to hate me for this. I don't know if it was, man, maybe 8 years ago. I remember watching Akash Modi as I think a sophomore. I think the Japanese team was here, and he just threw down on Pommel horse, and they gave him a standing ovation. Just amazing to see. Okay, last guy, Evan Hymanson. You know, the thing I would say is that Evan is his big events are probably P-bars, high bar, floor. This is not a bad event for him. I just wouldn't say it's his best event. So, you know, hopefully he comes up here and hits. Like I said, you know, like you said too, just staying on makes you feel good. Carries you into rings a little bit.
Yeah, and like you kind of mentioned earlier, Evan's competing at Winter Cup next week, so this is going to be a good opportunity for him to, you know, get some momentum in the next week. And, you know, anytime you can go out and compete, it's going to prep you. So, be a good tune-up for him. And
I think all the numbers mean something, right? So, you know, no matter if it's at a meet or not, the more times that you can hit and hit a routine and know that you're going to hit a routine, the better it is.
Yeah, and a big 12.55 from Will Pierce. So,
ooh, baby, we'll take that. We'll take that.
It's in the plus column for the Bandits. And Evan here will be looking to
championship, Jo.
Yeah, and Evan's looking to hopefully get rid of that 10-1 from the Bandits score too.
Oh, please.
Just to up the total.
He's definitely got the potential to do it. Like I said, just got to stay on, stay clean, be smooth. You know, he's been in this position numerous times before, like we said, having competed for Nebraska and also having competed Winter Cup.
A big 14.45 from Coy, so that's a score Stanford needs. Evan's really attacking this. Got a really fast circle.
Keeping it tight, man. He's keeping it tight in those legs. I'm loving it. Ooh, big travel. That's actually, that Magyar was pretty good for him. There we go. Nice clean Salvato, too. Let's see if he can finish it up. Come on now. All right, a little rough at the end. Obviously, I don't think that was the dismount that he was planning on doing, but when you hit the rest of the routine and then you can get up and get off on that dismount and not make too many mistakes, you got to take what you can take, especially with our team hitting a 10 and 11 and a 7. So, I'm guessing we're going to count that score because that was a pretty good, clean routine. Obviously, dismount needed a little work. He obviously a little bit tired there at the end. You could see him look like he was going to step up, and then he didn't. But great job hitting. Really clean form throughout. Got to give it to that guy.
Yeah, good set from Evan. He'll be happy with that one. Like you said, a little delayed on the dismount, a little bit of bent arms, but I would count that as a hit routine, and that'll improve the Bandits score.
I don't think that was the dismount he was planning on doing, so Oh, here we go. Score summary, event summary. Look, I've seen Stanford, and they obviously haven't put in Evan's score yet, but I've seen Stanford pummel NCAA teams. I've just seen them wreck teams before by 30 or 40 points in a regular NCAA thing. So, to see this club team, this group of guys who are going to college, working out as much as they can, they have jobs, they have all kinds of other stuff going on in their lives, keep the score this close to these Stanford guys that are groomed athletes, and half of them are national team members. Not too shabby, I guess.
Yeah, one thing that sticks out to me from Stanford, they were able to, beat their floor score by about half a point. So hopefully they keep continuing to just, claw away, hit sets, and, walk away with some good scores. So, but yeah, like you said, it's great to see your team come out here, and they're putting up a fight. So good to see, and they're doing some good gymnastics.
Yeah, they're trying, man. That's the big thing is that, get up there and do some good, clean gymnastics, put together some routines, even if they're not the same start values as the Stanford guys. But yeah, man, Stanford coming out and all 5 guys hit. I don't know how happy Tom is right now. But man, if you can put together a team of guys at any level that hits Pommel 5 for 5, you're on the right track to doing well.
Yeah, 5 for 5 is the goal on each event, and nice to see Coy take away the event title here. Big 14-4-5, well deserved. That was a great set. And then JR and Luke taking the silver and bronze. So yeah, hopefully they can continue that into the rest of the meet. And rings coming up is a huge event for Stanford. I think they're ranked first in the country on rings by a decent mark. A lot of strong guys, a lot of good swings. So I'm excited. What can we see from your team on rings, Scott?
Yeah, so I think this is actually a pretty good event for these guys as well. Andrew Kirshner is not going to throw out a huge difficulty level. He does have an interesting back 1.5 dismount. You probably haven't seen that in a while, that'll be cool to see. Evans obviously got a big routine. Elbert Chang actually does Maltese and a couple crosses. Gonna do pretty good. So you got a pretty good skill level on our team. We do have this guy Sam Cohen competing for us. He's doing his doctorate at Stanford. Does a cross, does an iron cross pull out, a few other things like that. So I think when you're talking about where we're at in comparison to Stanford, I think this might be one of the events that we're closer to Stanford on. But when it comes down to how you score rings, execution, this is the event where you got to hold things. This is the event where angles and all types of axes matter. You got your X, Y, and Z axis on this event, and the judges are watching it all. And so, anything could happen, right? And like you said, you got some, even though Stanford's only putting up 4 guys, looking at a few of those names, they are some beefy dudes, if you will.
Yeah, Mark Berlaga, All-American on rings last year. He's got some of the best strength holds I've seen. I mean, Brandon Briones, I think if you know gymnastics, you know his name, Olympic alternate. He's got a big ring set. Nick Kubler, he's getting a lot stronger each year. He has a huge triple back dismount. I don't know if he's doing it today.
Yeah, man.
But
no, he better do that. I will jump through this screen if he does not do that triple backflip. I have to see that thing way too much on Instagram and all over the place for him to not be doing that today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I better see it. I swear, I'm going to have you send him a message if he doesn't do it, okay? But yeah, that triple, man, I'm ready to see that. And like you said, I mean, Brandon Briones, I don't even know how he fits his arms behind his back. Every time I walk by him, man, his biceps are bigger. And I don't know what you do at some point in time when your bicep is a bowling ball. You can't fit your arm behind your back. It don't matter how flexible you are, right?
Yeah, he's a strong guy. And then I believe this is Arun's ring debut for Stanford. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I know some of his swing stuff is great. His giants are great. But, I haven't seen a whole lot of rings from Arun, so excited to see that routine. And if it's anything like horse, I'm confident he's going to start Stanford off on the right note.
Yeah, I haven't seen Arun compete in about a year, but I do know this. Obviously, he's not built the same way those other three guys are, at least not yet. Maybe he will get his college man strength going, but he does have impeccable swing. And he is a strong guy, for as skinny as he is. So I think that we're going to see a great level of gymnastics from him. I think it's just going to be a different routine than we're going to see from the three guys after that, could be bodybuilders. Well, from the waist up.
Yeah, I know Evan has a good ring set too. I don't know what strength elements he's doing today, but I know he's a guy that can swing really well on rings, and that should be a good score for the Bandits.
Yeah, there's his double, double tuck, so that's pretty good. Yeah, he's got a Maltese. I think he's got a straight body flange in there. Some good strength parts. For everybody out there, though, if you don't know this, there's two ways to get to this. Two different ways of judging the strength. I don't think I worded that correctly, but these gymnasts are supposed to show that they can swing to a strength position, and then they're also supposed to show that they can do a still strength position without having swung to it. And that's how a lot of the difficulty is formed on rings. Oh man, can I make a comment about Brody's hair right now? Why does he have a middle part? Why does he have? Okay,
Scott,
all right, man. I'll let you fix that some other time. I don't know about that, man. All right, here we go. Elbert Chang, first on the event. Guy goes first on every event. He kind of likes to do that. It helps him out a little bit. Okay, back of Bryce Maltese. Ooh, let his legs drop a little bit too low there. That was a little bit of a low bounce cross too. So, everything on rings, that's a little low again. Not sure exactly what he's doing there as far as how low he's lowering, but everything in those strength positions on rings, besides holds, all those angles, they've got to be better. Oh man, he's having a tough time.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to do a front giant there and came up a little short, so went to L and pressed back up.
Must be pretty nervous. I've seen him do that routine a million times and never seen him do it like that. So, like I said, for these Bandits guys, this is a huge opportunity. It's definitely a different environment. See, look, I can see way too much of Brody's forehead right there. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Can someone tell him? I don't want to see that. I don't need to see his forehead. It'd be great if he just stood in front of the camera right now and blocked the whole screen with his forehead. All right, we got Arun next.
Yeah, next up, like I said, I think he's making his ring debut for Stanford, so pretty exciting for him, and looking forward to seeing what he can do. Yeah, and kind of like you mentioned, Scott, name of the game on rings is, hitting good strength positions and holding them. And And then, every time you swing, the ring should be still. And then obviously sticking your dismount. Those are kind of the three main things on rings. You do those, you're going to score well. So hopefully Arun can get after it.
Yeah, I mean, part of the execution of the event is in the name of it, which is still rings. We all call it rings. It's actually still rings, and so anytime those rings are swinging, you're getting deductions, and it's probably going to mess you up. So, yeah, you got to be solid. You got to be a robot. You got to have things programmed in. Back of Brad straddle planche.
Yeah, nice position, good hold there.
That's a tough skill to get the value of it from it, but he did it pretty well.
Yeah, nice Yamawaki sequence. We'll see that a lot today, both in the tuck position and pike position. Very common skill on rings to get some difficulty.
Yeah, if you didn't know what Blake was talking about, those double front skills, classically called Yamawakis. The tuck one is the Yamawaki, so we all just kind of lump it in and call one a tuck Yamawaki and one a pike, even though they have names. Okay, I couldn't quite see the dismount because it kind of glitched on me, but full twisting double A?
Yeah, full twisting double A looked good in the air.
Okay.
Landed a little short, had to take a step forward, but for the first time Arun competing rings, great set, and good start from Stanford.
Yeah, real clean, helps the next guy up be able to feel like he can really go hard.
Yeah, not a whole lot of difficulty in that routine, but, first guy up for Stanford, like I said, on horse. Did his job, hit a clean routine, and, the rest of the lineup would be more prepared because of it.
Yeah, all right. Next we got Ezekiel Easton. Not maybe as difficult of a routine as Arun does. Should be pretty solid, though. Hopefully he hits his giant. That was the unfortunate part of Albert's routine. You miss a giant, you start struggling, you start fighting. You get to the end of the routine, it's hard to throw your dismount correctly. Great to see Thomas Lee out there coaching. Blake, that could be you. That could be you lifting a college club guy up onto the rings. Hey, back of right straight body planche. Not too bad. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, lowering into cross. A little bit high.
Lower to cross? Yeah. And let me explain that since I was explaining to you earlier, Blake. These guys that are competing for the club team, usually when they compete against other club teams, they compete against a little bit different rules. So their routines are constructed for those rules. And in that format, they get a big bonus for doing an iron cross. So that's why that iron cross is in there. They get a 5/10 bonus if they do any iron cross.
Gotcha.
So we might see that from some of the club guys because it's worth so much to them that if you can do it, then you do it, even if it's maybe a little bit high. What do we got going on here? Chalking up the rings? Straightening out the rings? Chalking them up.
Making sure they're nice and good for Nick. But, that was a good routine from Ezekiel. Decent amount of difficulty. A little bit of a hop on the dismount. But, all in all, I think that's a score that is going to help the Bandits.
Yeah, I think for a guy who's been working rings now for 3 months, because he works out in a college gym that doesn't have men's gymnastics equipment at San Jose State, that wasn't that bad. That was pretty darn good.
Yeah,
I'm always
impressive.
impressed how strong he is. Yeah, can you imagine, man, if you were working out in an all-girls college gym and then trying to go do a rings routine after? It's tough.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's tough, and, he's obviously making the most of the circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, here better be this triple back, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to get your phone out and start sending some messages.
I might just have to, but because I think last week he did double dismount. It looked beautiful. He stuck the landing. But then a couple weeks ago he did the triple, so we'll see.
Ooh, man, a man of many skills.
Yeah, he's the one that's upped his difficulty on the rings a lot since his freshman year. He's got a couple Maltesers, I think, got a cross, so This is going to be a big routine for Stanford.
Well, he darn well added like pounds of muscle. I mean, look at that. Look at that, dude.
Yeah, that was a textbook straight planche. Right into the kip Maltese.
That's a beautiful Maltese, too.
Yeah, these are some great positions.
You want to talk about a junior guy who pretty much didn't have any of these strength positions. Comes to Stanford, works his booty off in strength, and now has all of these strength positions, and they're pretty good. Dude did a good job. Oh, that's what I love to see, man. I got to tell you, as a junior coach, you love to see lock arm press handstands, bro. It's just a I can't even talk right now just because it was so awesome to see. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Come on now. Oh. Okay, start sending texts. I either want a triple double tucked or I want a triple backflip from this guy. But hey, I think the thing is the triple backflip, if people don't know, that's a pretty hairy skill, especially to throw at the end of a routine. You're doing a lot of strength. And like we were talking about, Stanford is really trying to make sure they make it to the end of the year. You got to make it to conferences, and then you got to make it to NCAAs and all this other stuff. You throw one bad triple, hurt your knee, you're out of that lineup, and Nick's a good rings guy, so they're probably trying to keep him stable. Double-double's probably a little bit easier at the end of the routine.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great set. Good strength positions. Most of them, I think, were held 2 seconds, so good set from him. I know he wanted to stick that dismount, but that should be a good score following Arun's 13-1.
All right, so here's Sam Cohen. Sam is doing his doctorate at Stanford, and we were just trying to give him a chance to compete. He's never competed before, so you want to talk about guys that are doing their first competition for Stanford. He hasn't competed before at all. So you want to talk about a real rookie. Here, this is the rookie of the year right here, man. No experience at all. So hopefully he does, has a good experience. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for this guy, is that he jumps up and does a good routine and is happy about being able to compete and do his best.
Yeah, and getting your doctorate at Stanford is no joke. So, very impressed he's, finding time to do gymnastics too. And that's a great looking cross right there. And he pulls out of it.
Boy is strong. Boy has been working on his doctorate on strength. Okay. All right. Back of Bryce straddle L. Got to work on that flexibility. Another cross. All right. Ooh, to a back lever. There's a Cal Berkeley special. I think we're going to just see a double back here. Hey, you know what? You got to say the guy did a pretty good job for having never competed gymnastics before, getting it together while he's getting his doctorate. Like you said, at Stanford, that's super tough. A lot of strength. Give him credit for doing a pretty good routine, man.
Yeah, that was a great routine. Those crosses were great positions, and that's impressive. I think that routine went a lot better than my first competition ever. So, yeah, I think that'll be a pretty decent score actually. So,
I think if I did Iron Cross maybe for a year or so. I think if I had ever tried to do what he just did, all the armpit hair I have would have fallen out. You know what I'm saying? It's just painful sometimes for me to think about the amount of pressure that this is on the shoulders and the hands and the wrists and everything else like that. Brody's going to have to put on his resume professional rings chalker,
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's doing a good job. So, yeah, Nick Gubler puts up a big 14.25. I think that's a 5.3 difficulty, so almost a 9.0 execution on rings is super impressive.
Whoa. All right.
Now we got Brandon Briones. His muscles have some muscles. I know he's got a big routine, and he was injured all last year, so it's really good seeing him compete again. And that's a beautiful looking inverted cross, straight to the
inverted
Maltese.
Cross, man. You hardly ever see that right now. It's tough to get the credit for the inverted cross, and it's also a tough skill to balance. To see a guy start out with that, he's throwing something big. Yeah, that's a big, strong boy. Okay. Yeah, you just come from a straight body planche and just straddle your legs to a straddle L. No problem.
Back to the straight body.
Like a table. Like a table, dude.
Straight up to the handstand. No hesitation.
Yeah, man.
Another one right to handstand. I think he's doing a double dismount.
Oh, he got you on that one, man.
He did.
He got you.
Yeah, full twisting double layout, cold stone stick. So that's going to be another big number. Great routine from Brandon.
Yeah, that was great. I think sometimes they choose to not do that double-double because they can see the ground a little bit better. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes in those tuck positions when you're twisting a lot, the ground kind of gets lost. But, yeah, Brandon has always been incredible at sticking dismounts. So, he's kind of unfazed but these days sticking with dismounts. But that was a great routine, great stick. Scott, you think that's going to beat Nick Kubler's 14.25?
Oh, man. Yes, I do. I really like Nick's routine, but I think that there might have been a little bit more difficulty there. And yeah, the stuck dismount, definitely helps out a lot. Okay, next we got Andrew Kersner. This is going to be definitely a more basic routine than Sam's was. Obviously Sam put in a bunch of iron crosses. This is going to be a little bit of a easier, cleaner routine. Make sure you get the score. But like I said, you're going to get to see that cool little back 1.5 that you hardly ever see.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Pretty good at it. Yeah, man, it's cool to see when you see it because if even if you're expecting it, you don't know how it's going to come off the rings.
Great job from Thomas there, making sure he's completely still before the routine.
Yeah, Thomas doesn't know it, but he's a coach inside. He just likes to pretend that he's got a real 9-to-5 job that he loves. Okay, we got to hold these positions a little bit longer, but he's doing good, keeping the form together, doing good, executing. Got to turn the rings out. If you're watching. You're a gymnastics fan, maybe you don't know. Oh my gosh, I have never seen him do that before. That was the wildest thing I've ever seen. Looked like his foot got stuck on the ring.
Yeah, it looks like he definitely kicked it. Glad he's all right though. You never want your feet.
I hope he's all right.
Never want your feet inside the rings. So.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I was gonna say something else, but let me say this to the gymnastics people: your feet are never supposed to go in the rings. That would be. I hope everybody understands that your feet don't go in the rings. So yeah, but otherwise also too, the rings are supposed to be turned straight, at least like the parallel bars. And most of the time, as a gymnast, you're trying to turn them out a little bit more than that, just to make sure that you don't get deducted. It is a deduction to have the rings turned in. Most, gymnasts don't realize a lot of times once you turn the rings in, you're not just getting that deduction for the rings being turned in, you're also getting a deduction for your arms touching the straps. So when you're not doing those good basic positions, you really, really start going downhill as far as scores go.
Yeah. So next up, Mark Berlaga, some of the best strength in NCAA. His positions are flatter than flat. I know the last couple weeks he's struggled with his dismount, kind of a unique dismount. He does a front double pike, so a double front and a pike position. He worked on it hard last year too, and now he's on the team, but very difficult dismount, especially at the end of the routine. So hopefully he can put it down today.
Even the best gymnasts in the world, I remember Tomita in, I think, the 2004 Olympics, he peeled off on a front double pike from Japan. So that dismount is super hard. But like you said, I think he kind of makes up for it with his strength, man. He's just got to put this dismount on his feet when you look like that in a Maltese.
Yeah, these are just some textbook strength positions. Makes it look so easy. Wow.
Yeah, that is so hard. That is so hard, man.
Right now is a good chance for him to breathe.
Yeah, you take those opportunities where you can when you're holding something long to take take a breath, recenter yourself, slow your heart rate down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's psyched about it too, dude.
Yeah, he's
And he's
stoked
got
with
good
that
celebrations.
Yeah, he had some of the best last year. They're usually a little bit delayed, so you never know what's coming. But
yeah, and slightly awkward. Oh, it looks like Asher liked that. I'm not sure what that face was Asher was making, but it looked like he liked it.
Yeah, Scott, so you were right. Brandon Briones went at 14-3, so beats Nick Kubler by 0.05.
I mean, that's so little. I mean,
yeah.
Very similar routines, I guess. Start values a little different there. I don't know. It just depends on the position that you're hitting. I think that inverted cross is really hard to get full credit for. I think that a lot of people are learning that. You got to have your shoulders completely straight. It's easy to see for the judges, That could have been the difference.
Yeah, definitely. So we got Evan up last on rings. He's finished out the rotation for us.
So kind of a disastrous event for us. Like the Bandits had a bunch of weird things happen. Ezekiel had a solid routine, and Sam wasn't too bad either, but he was missing a swing to handstand. So, he obviously lost out on some of that start value because of that. Had some big steps on his landing. We just saw Andrew mess up there at the end, take a fall, put his foot through the ring, all kinds of craziness. So hopefully Evan can get it back together here. We can move into vault safely.
Yeah, exciting thing for Sam, though, is his score will count for the team. So first ever competition, and he's contributing to the team. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, you better believe that, man. He's got to get those feet up a little bit higher, but, he's trying to throw the hard difficulty in there with the Maltese. Nice Yamawaki's, as Blake would say.
Yeah, Evan has a great line, though. What he does looks really good. His handstands are nice. Like Scott was saying, his rings are turned out in that handstand.
Checking that one a little bit. He's got this big double dismount. Hopefully he puts it down. Get it. All right, not too bad. Big step there. Yeah, it's going to be a good score, though. Obviously, that score is going to be probably the highest score on the team. It's a pretty solid routine. Needs to work on balancing those handstands and doing those a little bit better, but otherwise, pretty darn good. Look at Asher trying to get all the camera time.
He's got a pizza in one hand.
You know what it is? I just figured it out. Brody is trying to copy Asher with the hairdo. I cannot believe it, dude. I cannot believe an upperclassman is copying a lowerclassman. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so you can obviously see, big difference there. Like you said, we're going up against, probably the number one team on rings in the NCAA, and then just a bunch of club guys trying to do their best. It's that's a tough thing to go into, is go against the best team in the NCAA on rings, even if they're only putting 4 guys up.
Yeah, a 42-9-5 with 3 guys is a huge score. I didn't end up seeing what Mark Balaga's final score was, but I'm sure it was in the 14s. And like I said, Stanford just keeps building. 40 on floor, 41 on horse, 42 on rings. Maybe we'll see a 43 on vault. Definitely some potential.
Yeah.
Stanford's got some big vaults on the team. I don't know what they'll be doing today. Kind of theme of the meet is some other guys are getting in and getting experience. I know for sure Zach Martin's on vault. A couple weeks ago, he did a Kazumatsu double twist, which is a souk with 3 full twists. One of the hardest vaults in the world. We'll see if he does that today. I know Koi Young's on vault. He does one of the hardest vaults in the NCAA also. But yeah, looking at these ring results, yeah, Mark Berlaga putting up an impressive 14-4 with the 8-7 execution. Looks like all the guys on Stanford went above an 8-6 in execution, which is not an easy thing to do. So
not at all.
Yeah.
And then Nick with an 8.95 there. You want to talk about real execution on rings? Pretty darn good. I think Mark, when he's really hitting, I think at the end of the year when he All-American last year, he's hitting like 14.6s to 14.7s. It's definitely within that range, within the next couple meets.
Yeah, and Evan finished in the Bandits with a 13-1 on rings. That helped the score out a lot. So good score from him. He'll be happy with that. Like we kind of said, rings is not one of his better events, but it's good to put up a respectable number and move on to the next event.
Yeah, I think if you can hit a 13 on maybe not your best event, you're still doing all right. I think vault's going to be interesting though. I mean, like you said, even though maybe Stanford is maybe the better team on rings in the NCAA, they're incredible on vault. When you can release an Instagram video where you literally post almost every vault that's worth a 5.2 or above, it's there's countries that can't do that, right? So I like you said, I think even with their B team here, they're going to put up some really high start values, some really cool vaults. Got to hope they're all safe and they land correctly. But yeah, they could put up, they could put up like a 45 on this event almost. I mean, Zach scored a 15-1 before, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he scored a 15-1 this year. Coy's been in the 15 ranges before. Brandon Briones is always one that's really good at landings. I think he's doing a 2.5 today. Good to see Brandon win back in the lineup after his injury last year. And like I said, Kyan's first competition was competing for Stanford, so good to see him on vault. And I think he's doing a double twist. So, we're in store for a big vault rotation from Stanford. And then you said
Curran's actually not competing. Yeah. Even though he's on the lineup, Curran was supposed to compete vault, but his back's still a little bit injured. They're trying to keep him a little bit safe and make sure that they keep him alive. So with the format being that they're only going to count 3 scores, the Bandits are just going to put up 4 guys. I think we're going to see actually in order, probably like start value wise, 2 suit layouts, and then Kazumatsu, and then Evan's going to do a handspring Rudy. So we'll see how that goes. As far as for the Bandits, they've got to stay on their feet, be tight, and stick if they even want to stay within 5 points of this murderer's row of vault over here.
Yeah, but we'll see Curran on the next 2 events. He's former All-American on vault, but some of his best events are yet to come. So I'm excited for this vault rotation.
I'm sure everybody's excited to see Curran on P-bars. When you're that guy that at USA Championships has scored a 16.9 or whatever he scored. Your name is known.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a little biased. Curran's one of my best friends. We were on the team the last 4 years together, but I think he's one of the
weird.
best.
He told me he hates you.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That sounds like him? Okay, well, there you go.
I'm just kidding. I think he's arguably one of the best in the world on P-bars. So I'm excited to see what he has in store. But first things first, we'll get this vault rotation under wraps.
Yeah, this is obviously going to be a quick event. You got to vault in it. It's 1 run, 1 punch, 1 block, and 1 landing real quick, so you got to be pumped up for this event. If you don't get pumped up for this event and just let it all ride, then, you're probably going to end up shorting it or doing something that you don't want to do. It's very similar to like what we were talking about on floor, where if you try to stick too early, then, you probably fall. This event, you really got to bring the heat all the way till the end. Look at that beautiful vault. Look at that beautiful speed vault, dude.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Nice and springy.
Did you ever get to compete on that vault?
I don't think I ever competed on it. It's in our practice gym, so I trained on it every now and then. But yeah, it's nice and soft. So
soft. It's got like a spring underneath it. It's a thing of beauty. It's what all the elites have to compete on now. If you didn't know that. So we got Stanford going first. Okay. Was a cause half, right?
Yeah, 1.5 twists in total, and his first time competing vault for Stanford, he sticks it. Really can't go much better than that. So Great job from him and good start for Stanford on vault.
Yeah, man. That's what you're always looking for. Even if you're doing a lower start value, you want that execution. You want that stick.
Yeah, and one thing, I saw my last 4 years, once one person sticks, it feels like it opens the gate for, the next people to stick. I can't prove it, but it just happens.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things. It's kind of this weird, it's a weird contagion where it, you just kind of feel like you can do it. I don't know what to compare it to. It's like when, you know what it's like? It's like when you start finishing someone's sentences.
Yeah. So kind puts up a 13-9 to start. Good start.
That's a good execution off that ball. Okay, so Suk layout. Okay, Elbert stuck it too. All right. We'll take that. He doesn't get too excited, so this is about as excited as you'll ever see Elbert right there. That was him cheering loudly. Okay.
Yeah, nice clean vault though.
Even Asher is pretty excited for that, which is good to see, man. You know what I like to see here is that both teams are supporting each other. No matter the separation in their gymnastics as far as start values and stuff like that, everybody's from the same community. We're all men's gymnasts. We're all trying to get college gymnastics to grow and be watched. And so it's great to see, Brody and Asher and all these guys that are kind of resting up this weekend, being excited for the club team. And obviously the club team is super excited, Stanford and everything they do, but great to see the camaraderie.
Yeah, it's a tough sport. Good to see that mutual respect. And up next, we got Brandon Wynn. Super, super powerful gymnast. We'll see what vault he does today, but one that has the potential to, do some of those vaults we were talking about earlier in the 5-6 range, and just very difficult. So,
I don't know if I've ever seen someone hit the board harder than Brandon Wynn.
Yeah,
he hits it hard.
Yeah, he hits it like he's mad at it, but like I said, he had a knee injury last year that took him out all year, so he's still slowly coming back, but good to see him back out there.
Yeah, let's hope he puts this down. Love to see him safe. Love to see him do a big vault right here. Like I said, that was he. Oh, wow. You can see the potential for the 2.5 there, or even maybe the triple full, but obviously trying to keep it safe with the brace on his knee. That was a pretty darn good cause full or Suk double full, whichever would you like to call it.
Yeah, a lot of power, clean in the air. Big hop back, but that's a good routine right there. A good vault right there.
Yeah, so 3 vaults down in this competition and 3 pretty good landings. 2 sticks and a one step. Okay, so next should be Andrew Kirshner. I think, like I said, another Suk layout. So hopefully he sticks it because he's going to need to stick it going against the Suk double full like that. All right, one step, a little bit sideways, pretty good execution. We'd love to see it after a rough rings routine. Putting out a good score there. Going to keep it close.
Yeah, nice position in the air. Nice controlled landing. He did take that step, but sometimes people land and looks like they didn't know the ground was there. So,
or it looks like they took a step without needing it.
Yeah.
Just like a nervous, like let me feel slightly off balance. Let me take that step even though I don't need to. 13.85 and a 13.9. So 2 okay scores there for Stanford. I think they're big boys that are coming up now, right?
Yeah, I think Brandon's doing a 2.5. So this should be a big vault.
Oh, wow. That was really high off his hands. Obviously hopped out of bounds there. It's going to be a little bit of a deduction. And he's usually a little bit more solid, I feel, like on his landing. But I think he's got the sting mat down there. That's a little bit of a bouncier landing. A little bit harder to absorb.
Yeah, it's always good to see him hop forward, though, and not backwards. You always want to, put a little extra power into it than not enough. So he's going to get hit with some extra deduction for going out of bounds. But, big 15-2 start for Brandon. So should still be a decent score.
right, Will Pierce up now. Pretty sure he's doing Kazumatsu. Ooh, twisted a little early, but almost stuck it. Man, those were like two like little like not needed hops, like almost in place, huh?
Yeah, kind of like we just talked about, but nice extended position in the air. You know, a lot of times on those cause vaults, you know, guys pike a little bit or they aren't super open, but great position throughout the air. He probably would have liked to have at least one of those hops back, but good vault from Will.
Yeah, definitely a good vault for us to use there. All right, who do we got up now?
Zach Martin. So this could be a huge vault. We'll see if he does the triple twist.
Wow. Yeah, big boy vault coming right now. And to think, Brandon Wynn and Zach both used to be on the same junior team. So I used to hear this vault board just get smashed from across the gym at state championships and regionals. Know the two of them are vaulting. Boom, there it is. Wow. Okay. A little bit big hop. I would say out of his last three vaults, that was probably maybe his worst one, and still a pretty good vault.
Yeah, just a 2.5 today, but super clean in the air. Zach's All-American on vault. He stuck it at NCAA championships last year. So yeah, super clean in the air. A couple hops back, but that'll be a good score.
I think it's like we talked about earlier. Sometimes when you're trying to save yourself, you want to do like a forward landing so you don't maybe crunch your ankles so much. There's no reason to throw down a suit triple full against the Bay Area Bandits. Just do a nice clean 2.5 and take the experience and move on.
Yeah, you know, it's a long NCAA season, so you know, a lot of the strategy is just maintaining and building while not, you know, tearing your body down. And yeah, they'll go until the middle of April, so they still got a while in this season.
All right, next we got Evan. Like I said, I think he's going to do handspring Rudy. Hopefully he drives his heels hard right here. Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Hey, that's a pretty good vault, man. That's the best I've seen him executed in the last two meets. So congrats for Evan. It's going to be a great score for the team.
Yeah, that was a good vault. Little pike down on the landing, but just a small shuffle back. That starts at a 14.8, so that should be a good score for the Bandits.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of interesting. You talk about the pike down. Maybe people don't know this, but, you know, you start getting deducted as soon as you hit the springboard. So there's deductions going onto the ball. There's deductions coming off the ball. There's deductions in midair. There's deductions on the landing. And, you know, it's a tough event to judge, I think, for the judges because it's happening so quick. Coy Young now. See what he's got in. Doesn't look like he's doing Yurchenko at all. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see what he does. If he does a handspring vault, I know he has handspring Randy in his repertoire, but
oh, he tried for it. Didn't quite finish that twist round, though, huh? What do you think they're going to give him for that?
I think they'll give him credit and just hammer him for a short twist. But yeah, it looks like that one might have stung. Hopefully he's all right after that. But yeah, it looks like he just didn't get the block he needed off the table. Got some rotation, but just didn't get the height he needed to complete the twist.
Yeah, you got to be on quick and early to get that much twist around out of that front handspring. You know, maybe he just wasn't quite there. Big vault, though. Huge vault.
Big vault, one of the hardest vaults in the world. So hopefully he's all right. And I believe that was the last vault in the rotation. So
yeah, I think we're heading to P-bars now.
Yeah, we'll be moving on to parallel bars shortly.
All right, I saw Pierce. No, who is that as a judge? Is that Peter Wiggins?
That is Peter.
I think that's Peter Wiggins. We got Peter Wiggins all the way from Arizona judging us tonight. And I'm guessing the other guy was Tom Coots. So Peter Wiggins and Tom Coots judging us. And here we have a score summary. Definitely the closest the Bandits have. Almost the same as floor, but definitely the Bandits' highest score. Obviously, vault's a higher scoring event.
Yeah, keeping it close. That was a great rotation for the Bay Area, and you know, kind of, you know, not Stanford's best vault rotation, but no falls. Just, you know, a little bit squirrely on some landings, but you know, 42.35. You wish that's a little higher, but move on to P-bars and, 2 events left.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that, Stanford's pretty darn good on P-bars and high bar. I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily their strong events, but I think that they're great on them. I think, for the Bandits too, P-bar is a pretty solid event. We're going to get to see Curran Phillips, and he's going to add to our start value. And we have Evan, and the other guys throw out clean routines. Albert's got a pretty good routine if he puts it together correctly. So I think we're going to see some interesting scores here coming up on P-bars. I think it could either be close or you never know what happens. It's gymnastics.
Yeah, Curran and Evan both have the potential to put up big scores on P-bars. I know last year, Curran was, consistently putting up scores higher than 15 or around the 15 mark. So he does what he normally does. He's going to go big. And I'm excited to see who's in the P-bar lineup for Stanford. A lot of those Winter Cup guys are typically the guys in on parallel bars. So excited to see some fresh blood for Stanford. But looking at the vault,
there we go. Vault scores. All right.
Yeah, looking at vault, Zach Martin took the title with a 14.4. Really clean 2.5, just that hop back. Coy's score comes in at a 13.55.
You can see that execution difference. I mean, obviously he was really tight in the air. You take that 1 point away, he's at a 9.25. So then he ends up in that upper echelon of their scores if he stays on his feet, probably. And deservedly so. That was a huge vault. So hopefully he gets that around in the future. Like we said earlier, Zach Martin has been scoring much higher than 14.4. Brandon Briones probably hasn't been doing a lot of vault, this year. He's just getting back into his all-around status, I think. And then you got our guys down there. Evan got a 13.5, not too bad, like you said, a little bit of a pike down. Otherwise, he could have maybe been up there with the other guys. And then Will and Albert there just throwing some clean routines, 8.95 execution. Gotta take that because it's pretty darn close to those other Stanford guys up there.
Yeah, and Kyan putting up a 9.4 execution, super impressive with that stick. So even with, an easier vault compared to the other Stanford guys, moves into that third place on vault. So it's good.
That's a great point. 9.4 execution, and also probably his first meet competing vault, So to stick, put up one of the higher scores, you gotta love that, Kyan's a good kid.
Looks like a good crowd next to the P-bars, so hopefully add some energy to this rotation.
Yeah, you'd love to see a full stands, even if it's not on the far right out of the camera full. In the background that thing looks full. And what's crazy, man? Isn't this the best sport to watch? Isn't this the most exciting sport to watch? It's insane that we don't fill those stands, every single time. Because I don't know anyone who wouldn't enjoy watching gymnastics.
Yeah, it's a great sport. I know people that some of my classmates at Stanford, it was their first time going to competitions, and they're like, oh, wow, I can't believe I've never been to one of these before. So hopefully, spectatorship keeps growing. But
Big Healy there from Elber. A little bit of an arm check there. He's going to cost him a little bit. Yeah, you don't have to pay $2,000 for a front row seat to the Super Bowl of gymnastics, It's obviously a cheaper sport to watch, too. People should get into it more. A little Diamondov, big leg separation, big arm bend there. He's got to really get this going. He's getting real tight, not swinging up as much as he needs to. Whoa. And a double tuck, a little bit low on the landing. Could have been executed a lot better. But like we said, nerve-wracking, definitely a different format than a guy who just came out of juniors is used to, where you got the warm-up beforehand and then the two-minute one-touch or whatever not. So if you're not used to that, then can be tough.
Yeah, judge's table is in the way, so I don't know if he put his hands down on that dismount, but it was a low landing. But
yeah, good point. I couldn't see it either.
Yeah, good fight through that routine. Obviously not what he wanted, but some of those skills I thought he was coming off on, and he was able to fight and get it back on track. So, gymnastics, you're never going to be perfect, but it's good when you can figure out a way to just make it through.
It's a performance sport. You're getting judged. So it's probably a very similar feeling to explain to people like having to give a speech in front of an auditorium, but you've got to do it athletically, in front of a couple judges that are going to give you a score after you give the speech. So, you can imagine everybody's naked in the crowd. It's probably not going to help you.
So Arun back out on the floor, his third event today. And I believe this is his first time competing parallel bars too. So we'll see. Nice whip it there, a front flip off your forearms. That one does not feel good.
No, that does not, my friend. He is going to have that classic raspberry right there in the armpit area that's going to feel incredibly horrible during a shower for the next couple days. It's going to have a little bruise, on that side there. It's a tough one. That's a tough one to take. It's a tough one to take. Let's hope he recovers pretty well, though.
Yeah, it's
if you didn't know, if you're a gymnastics fan, you get 30 seconds to remount. So he couldn't go off to the side and cry for a little bit and then get back up.
Yeah, good to see him repeat that healing and do it well.
I think I told everybody earlier on a Pommel dismount, you bend that arm too much, or you do something weird like you did on the catch, you're not going to get credit for the skill. So your starting score is going to be a lap. Ooh, wow, that was a heck of a front uprise, and then turned into a good double front.
Yeah, I mean, good finish from Arun. Obviously, you don't want to, hurt your ribs on the bar, but it's all about, we talk a lot at Stanford about, once you make one mistake, it's, vital that you're able to continue the routine and finish in a way that's, going to help the team. Because, 505 count during the regular season and during postseason, your score counts no matter what. So it's good to see a freshman like Arun, finish the routine well after a struggle at the beginning.
Yeah, you mess up too. You want to minimize that, right? Because, the team is counting on you. You mess up, you got to go back up and not keep messing up. You got to stop the bleeding, as some people would say. Here's Ezekiel. Haven't seen his P-bar routine that many times. Been working a lot more on rings and other events. We'll see how it goes. Nice moy there. That's okay, a little bit short. Front uprise. A lot of times people don't understand that every single little thing that you do on the event is a skill, and it has value, and it's getting judged, and it has a certain way that you do it. So even the littlest pushes to upper arm and swing the handstand, that all has a value. It all adds to your start value. So even though that was a pretty short routine, each one of those little moves has an actual value that's going to add up, and there wasn't a ton there that he could mis-execute. So hopefully that'll be an all right score after Elbert had a little bit of a rough time. See some kids with some signs there in the front row. It's always good to see the junior gymnasts there, even though there's a local meet that's in Sacramento, so it's not as many junior guys are around. Who do we got up next? Is Luke McFarland going?
Hard to tell with all these guys helping with the bars, but it looks like J.R. Chow's going to be up next.
JR, okay. Let's hope he puts up a score like he did on Pommel Horse, man.
Yeah.
JR from Cyprus?
Yep, he's from Cyprus in Houston. Great gym in Texas.
Gym as Jonathan Horton. Who else? Bunch of big name gymnasts. Tom Meadows, head coach out there.
Yeah, Chris Brooks, Ian Gunther is another member of the Stanford team. He came from Cyprus. Yeah, Asher came from Cyprus, or he was at Cyprus for a little bit.
True. Colin Van Wicklen, I think, was there for a while. A good gym, great gym out in Texas. Okay, peach handstand. How often does JR do P-bars? I feel like I haven't seen him on P-bars that much.
Yeah, he's been in a couple meets this year. I think my time on the team, he was always training P-bars, but always a little bit injured. More so,
It's a good
kind of.
routine.
Yeah, he's swinging, he's getting after it. More so, he's been consistently in on high bar and pommel horse, but I mean, if he keeps doing sets like that, he's gonna be in all year. That was a great routine from JR.
Yeah, man, that thing moved fluidly. Really nice gianting skills. What I mean by that, if you're watching when he hung under the bar and it looked like he was doing high bar on the P bars, he did a couple of those and he did them really nice, really fluid. Support skills were obviously solid. Nice dismount. Yeah, you gotta love that routine. I think too last year you guys had a stacked P-bar lineup. With Blake Soon, scoring the NCAA record, and then you got Curran, you got Thomas Lee on that team, and a few other guys. It's like it was tough to make that lineup on P-bars last year. I'm sure even if you had a rest day.
Yeah, our P-bar lineup the last couple of years has just been nasty. A lot of difficulty, a lot of execution. Yeah, Blake Soon was in there. Curran, who we're going to see in a little bit, he was in there. So yeah, it's nice to see some of the guys being able to step up. And I mean, JR puts up a 14-7. That's a huge score. Stanford's going to benefit from that one after an 11-8 from Arun.
Oh man, I mean, any team would benefit from a 14-7 on P-bars, man. That's a great score.
Yeah, it looks like a 6-0 difficulty too. So that's a very difficult P-bar routine.
Yeah, there's not a lot more you can add in to make that thing a lot bigger. I mean, you can get up in the 6.5s, but then you're really doing some stuff, right? Here comes Will Pierce. Will does a lot of interesting skills, and we're going to see that on high bar more so, where he does some German giants. But even on this event, he does some interesting stuff. There you go. You got a Harada right there. So front of prize, backflip, half turn, catch back in on your upper arms. Ooh, Diam and a quarter. All right. Shorted that a little bit. That's all right.
Yeah, he's
got to straighten out those
it.
handstands. Yeah, he's doing a good job staying on and hitting those handstands. Nice double back, nice landing. That was a good clean routine. I don't think it's gonna, obviously it's not gonna score a 14-7, but definitely gonna be a usable score. You see Ezekiel there's got that 12-1-5 with a pretty simple routine. So looking good. Bandits are looking a little bit better on this event, and they got two big hitters coming up next. So maybe they'll come close to Stanford on this one, since Stanford's only putting up 4 guys. JR made it tough, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that was a good set from Will. A lot of difficulty. Some of those upper arm skills are really difficult to do, so good to see.
You're telling me, man, I could barely do a back prize when I was a gymnast, let alone flip or do anything else,
Yeah, so now you're seeing the way this meet's set up. They split the top 5 guys, or the first 5 guys in the rotation, the next 5. So these guys are getting another chance to warm up and stay warm before they compete. So kind of just like a mid-rotation break.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't get that because, or don't get what we're doing as like getting the bars together. Basically, I think I could be wrong, but most teams have kind of a crew that starts and goes and works on that bar, right? I know you guys had a crew of people strip all the chalk off, put your honey on, put the chalk back on, put it in the places that you want it, then grab your security blanket and rub it against your cheek so you feel good about the routine that's about to happen. So there's a lot of little stuff that's going on to prepare the bars. And if you let all 10 guys warm up at once, it would take 30 minutes for them to get the bars the way they want them and for it to be safe and everything like that. So that's why they split the groups, is that the preparation time on P-bars can be really excessive depending on who's doing a routine. You got Curran in here doing a really big start value routine. So I think that, it's first off a safety thing. Secondly, a logistics thing. Oh, baby.
Yeah, when you see teams working on the P-bars, it's like a NASCAR pit crew. There's chalk flying, sandpaper flying, honey flying. So, I mean, that's something teams practice too, because you only get in a lot of time for it. So, you got to be pretty well versed on what you're doing and your role in prepping the bars. So,
Yeah, and it's got to be done well. Otherwise, someone slips off and they blame you. And, you know, we've all seen that before in elite meets. I think we've seen some of our national team member guys like slip because, you know, the gymnasts before them from another country had weird honey on the bars or whatever they had. And everybody uses a little bit something different. So I know, you know, my guys use honey. Some people use sugar water on the bars. Some people use Caro syrup. There's a variety of sticky things. I guess it's like being a pitcher and having the rosin to be able to hold the ball better.
Yeah, so our little break to warm up's over, and Brandon wins, saluting and getting ready to go. He's really good on P bars, does a lot of upper bar skills, so doesn't go under the bars too often, but
big strong boy, just like we said on vault. Brings a lot of power in every move that he does because of his height and because of how strong he is. He's got some good underbar skills there, man. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, he's upgraded since the last time I've seen, so it's good to see that. But
really becoming complete there.
Yeah, that was a huge straddle, 1 1/4. You know, front flip straddled above the bars. That doesn't feel good landing on your upper arms, but he made it look pretty fluid.
Yeah, and he's got no pads on his arms, so you want to talk about taking the pain and just dealing with it. Oh, baby. Oh, and he's a little pumped. He's pumped.
He's hyped after that one. You know.
Oh, yeah.
That stick, there was no hesitation. You know, you knew the moment his feet touched the ground, he was sticking. So that's good to see, and that was a great set from Brandon, and that should be another really good score for Stanford.
Yeah, once again, like you said, you know, that's really helping the depth out of that team. Watching a guy like that go up and hit that routine, stick the dismount, Tom's going to be able to rely on him later on in the year to be able to throw together a routine for them. Interesting to see them using the AAI bars. I don't know if NCAA is going to always just stay with AAI. I know most of the elite meets now, even this meet that I'm out at here in Dallas, Texas, everything is Spieth Anderson because of the contract signed with the with USA Gymnastics for elite to always be Spieth Anderson. So interesting. You got a Gym Nova board there and AAI bars and mats, and then a Spieth Anderson red mat to the side. Quite a little mix here. Yeah, and that's due to Stanford having so many national team member guys. They have to have all of that elite equipment that they would be on if they travel to Europe or whatever else it might be.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what the U.S. does in the NCAA, how congruent it's going to be with USA Gymnastics, with them signing a new contract with Spieth. These, for people that don't know, these are just all different brands of equipment. Some have their benefits, some are better, you know, in some people's minds. So, yeah, it's funny
like
seeing.
A shoe brand.
Yeah, it's funny seeing that Spieth board with the AAI bars and the Spieth 4-inch mat.
Yeah. All right, Evan up. Starts with a big front 1 1/4 there, straddled. Nice beach handstand. Okay, there you go. That's a big skill. It was pretty smooth too. Could show a little more kick out. Nice.
Very clean
Bahavsar. Named after Raj Bahavsar, one of our former Olympians from the U.S. Wow, that was nice too. Oh no, a little bit of a missed catch there. I feel like because that was a good skill. Okay, it's going pretty smooth besides that Tapelt, man.
Wow, impressive he does that Suarez so late, that backflip half and catch again.
Yeah, to hold on that late in the routine and then, you know, land on your arms and be able to get up out of it. You got to be a tough boy. And he is. That was a good routine, you know. Had he not messed up that Tapelt, that was probably going to be a pretty darn good score if, you know.
Yeah, so last up for Stanford is going to be Luke McFarland. Stanford's looking to get rid of that 11-8. So, Luke's going to have to put a good set together. He's been in the P-Bar lineup a couple times this year. So, I'm looking for him to put up a big number and, finish off Stanford's P-Bar rotation on a high note before they move on to high bar.
Man, I think maybe they weren't. Maybe I missed a little something on the Giants. Looks like they were a little tough on Brandon with that 13-8, even though he had a lower start value. I thought that was a pretty darn good routine. But 13-8 is not a bad score, obviously.
Yeah, good score. He was a little shorter on that peach half. They probably
True.
hit him for that, and they always like hitting everything. So
he was swinging, man. So he might have missed a few handstands. I was just impressed watching it. Like we were saying, like I didn't know he was going to do the underbar skill. I didn't know he was going to do the giant Dion. That was pretty sweet. All right, here goes Luke. This is kind of like how you see most guys start nowadays, right? That little cast and then a back and rise to handstand or a Yamawaki, right?
Yeah, good peach handstand there. You're supposed to do that with straight arms, and that was completely locked out, so good to see that.
Another event where when you go to handstand, you got to hold it.
Yeah, nice Healy there. Little short on that Stutz. Makes it hard to do that Diom right after, but he pulled it off well.
Oh, he cranked that. Soldier Boy up in the house.
not the cleanest double pike, but small step back. Solid routine from Luke, and that should be. That'll definitely get rid of the 11-8. So that's going to be what Stanford needs to move on to one more event.
Now we got big boy start value coming up here, huh?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he does today. I think he's done he's pushing the 17-0 mark in a start score, so
I can't even count to 17.
So we'll see what he does today. I know he's been hurt for a little bit. I think this is his first meet back in a long time. He's actually one that qualified for the World Team Camp last year, and I'm a little bit biased, but I think he had a good shot at making the World Team. But right before that, he got hurt. I think this is his first competition back in a while, so I don't know how high his difficulty is going to be, but I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think he's been nursing that same back injury that he got right before it, right? The back and stomach is really tough as a gymnast to injure and come back from because you use it all the time. So it's really hard to rest yourself and get yourself into a place where you feel like you can use it again really hard. But here we go. Here comes the circus. Hopefully we get one of those big start values. Looks like it's starting the same way it used to with that sidebar free hip. Yep, very nice.
Beautiful.
Now a bunch of front upright skills, huh? Woo! I don't know if people understand how hard that is. He's doing skills that you would normally do, swinging just on top of your hands. He's coming from his upper arm, so down in that bent arm position, and it is just so insanely hard. And he is just wrecking this routine.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Wow. Oh, the curse of the commentator hits again, dude. Wow.
Yeah, that's a huge routine. That's a very hard skill to do. I think that was the 7th or 8th skill or 9th. I don't know, but
So now you can see Tom right there, really quickly talking to the judges. If you don't know, the coaches are going to talk to the judges about whether the gymnast got credit for a skill or not, so that they can tell the gymnast what to do, so that they make the right decision, so it doesn't affect their start value as much. Oh no, twice. That is not going to help him out. He probably could have fallen once and still put up a pretty high score. Falling twice, same skill. It can be tough to really put up a high score with 2 1-point falls. Hopefully he finishes off pretty clean here. Lands a safe dismount. All right, I mean, up until that last skill, man, it was a killer routine. I think it had an incredible execution up until that point. It looks like he's pretty much ready for Winter Cup. He's probably just going to go back in the gym and punch himself, in his forehead and just, fix that and work real hard and get that skill locked down.
Yeah, I mean, that first half of the routine was textbook, and yeah, I hope he's disappointed with that, but it's good that he gets a chance to get out here on the floor before Winter Cup next week and kind of get the rust off since he hasn't competed in a while.
Like I said, I mean, the rest of that routine was pretty incredible up until that little snafu there, if you will. So he can't be too upset. I mean,
yeah, so we'll wait for Kern's score to come in, but Stanford put up a 41-1 on P-bars. Luke put up a 12-5-5, I believe. A little bit of a struggle on P-bars for Stanford. The fall from Arun, and then a bit of some bobbles from Luke. But, one more event left. The guys are tired by now, so it's important. You finish the meet on a strong note. And, a couple more routines.
Yeah, you got to learn to, compete till the end. Right? When it comes to a real NCAA meet, as they are coming down here to the end, all their scores are counting, right? 5 up, 5 count, or, whatever it is. So they got to depend on everyone. They can't have that 11-8 happen. So this is like kind of a learning process for them. Like you said, the deeper they get, the less chances there are for them to have that happen. You only put 4 guys up on an event. It can be tough, even if you're Stanford.
Yeah, my freshman year, NCAA championships, we were down to Oklahoma by 4.4 going into the last event. We went to rings. Oklahoma went to high bar, and we were able to pull it out. So, anything can happen. It's important to learn how to capitalize on your last event. So hopefully they can. I wouldn't say it was a bad P-bar rotation from Stanford, but hopefully they can beat that 41-1 on high bar.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. I mean, which one of those guys on Stanford's lineup today would actually be in the regular lineup on P-bars? Would any of those guys made the regular lineup?
I'm sure JR would. I'm sure
JR,
all those,
you're right.
I know Luke's been in a couple times this year.
When you throw back in all the national team members though and everything like that, do they still make it?
I think it depends on the week. I think they have a good chance, but yeah.
But if you got Riley, Coy, Brandon, is Brody competing this year?
He should be. I don't know for sure, but yeah, a lot of talent not on the roster today for Stanford, but good opportunities for those guys to compete. And,
yeah, and like I said, if they haven't competed, I mean, there it is. They just did it. So something to go off of there for Tom as far as how they compete. Because a lot of times you're not even looking at the score. You're looking at just how the guy competes in front of people. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good data point to use. Competing at the NCAA level is way different than competing at the junior level. So what impresses me... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, man, because you're going to say the same thing I'm about to say. Please say it.
I'm impressed with Curran's score, still putting up a 13.4 with a 6.9 difficulty. So,
darn right.
Take away those falls, he's above 15. So he'll be disappointed, but, that's a promising score. But, impressive by JR to take the title. 14-7 is a huge score.
Yeah, I mean, he was moving, man. That routine was worth that. Obviously, yeah, like you said, yeah, you can fall twice and score a 13-4. Probably in a pretty good place, my friend.
Yeah, so Arun gearing up for his 4th event today. He's had a good workload, so hopefully he can do well on high bar after his mistake on P-bars. Good to catch it there.
Quast. You don't see that move too much anymore just because of the angle deductions on when you catch it, right?
Yeah, his was a little late. That's a skill you don't see too often either.
Weiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing has to be dropped from handstand. It's a tough one to drop from handstand. Nice full twisting double layout. Could have been a little bit more stretched. Obviously stuck the dismount though. So like we said before, kind of makes you forget the rest of the routine.
Yeah, good to end his day on a stick. Not the most difficult routine by any means, but he did what he did well and did his job. So overall, great job from Maroon today, and that'll be a good start on high bar.
All right, man. I got I got something to tell you, dude. You're gonna see two guys on this team do German giants to a German giant Tkachev.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen that before, so I'm excited.
You should be, man. It's an interesting skill, interesting set of skills. Hopefully, they both do it correctly. We know as gymnasts that German giant, even to watch someone do it is painful to watch, and to actually do it yourself is like inconceivable if you're not flexible enough.
Does that count as a release element?
Yeah, it's a release. It's like a Tkachev, even though it's kind of different or weird looking. You either got that option or you got to do that pike out. And, if you don't have the Stalder after it, that can be a costly option. Okay, Albert Chang here starts out with that Stalder. Here he comes. Here comes the German. That's called the German giant. And then Tkachev kind of hit his foot on the bar, but you got to take it. So you don't see that move very often.
Yeah, it's impressive. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So super cool.
Well, there you go, man. All right, just dismount. Oh man, Elbert had a pretty good routine going there. Does a not bad double tuck and then just lets himself, put his hands down on the dismount. That's going to cost him a lot. That probably would have been actually a pretty reasonable score. I didn't see a ton of execution problems on that routine outside of his foot hitting on maybe the release move. But like you said with the runes, like you gotta stick that dismount and finish that meet off. So not going to quite get rewarded there the way we should have.
Yeah, Rune put up a 12.65 in the leadoff spot. Only a 13.9 difficulty, so around an 8.7 execution. That's a great execution score to start off the run.
Yeah, with high bar, if you don't look like you should be in Cirque du Soleil throwing all the big double flipping moves and all that craziness, it's tough to make a start value. So you regularly see mid to high 12s and low 13s as a pretty good average score. Here we go, Nick Kubler, big strong boy.
Yeah.
What does he do for a dismount off this event?
I think he does a laid out double, but he's got a really clean routine. Like I said earlier, his technique's really good. And he's one of the ones working on his difficulty too. It's a fun-looking skill.
Zulamin, right? Full twist in on one arm, full twist out. Here comes the big Kovacs. All right. This is smooth. Tkachev, real nice.
Pike Tkachev.
Yeah, and you're going to see guys that are trying to really get the difficulty together, just combine a lot of these skills. So Nick's got, all the skills that he needs. He just really needs to combine them and maybe add a couple more there, and he's definitely in that upper echelon of high bar guys.
Yeah, very clean dismount, hop on the back, or just a hop backwards, but another routine down for Stanford, another hit. So we got 3 more routines from Stanford, and then what can we see from Will Pierce on high bar?
Oh man, so I can't believe that they did this. This is the other German Tkachev. They're going to go back to back, man. I guess they were feeling it or something like that. But yeah, so think full twisting double tuck, German giant Tkachev, German. I think he might do a jam. So, pretty clean, good, like stock routine. I think it'll maybe be around that 13.6 to 13.9 start value like we saw from Arun. Can you see Albert's start value there, like 13.8?
Looks like 13.8.
Okay, so
little blurry,
I can see it being around that. Here we go. In and out. Oh, that mana position. Uh-oh. Oh, trouble. Yeah, if you don't get into that mana position really well and kick out and use it to swing, you're in a bad spot, you know? Your arms are in that stretch position. So you got to be careful with that skill. You can really hurt your shoulders really quickly. We'll see what Will's going to do here. I don't know if he's going to repeat it or just try to get up and finish the routine cleanly. He didn't get much credit there. He only got the in for the in bar. I doubt he got credit for the giant. Looks like he's going to do it again. Here we go. Oh, baby. And there it is once again. And you know what? I think that one was even better, really, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that was done well.
Nice jam. And he's got the Russian giant there, or Czech giant that they call it. Pretty good pirouette. Let's see if he can finish this off strong. Yep. And stick. Hey, look at that, man. That's the way you want to finish after you've fallen and messed up a little bit.
Yeah, great way to end the routine.
Totally. So I think, a pretty similar start value to Albert's. Obviously, we're going to have that fall in there, but Albert had a fall too. Maybe looking at a 10 to 11 score on that routine as well. And Nick got a 13.75. That's big. That's a big boy routine. What's that start value there? 14.5?
Yeah, 14.5.
Man, execution was good, dude. I mean, you want to talk? That's only 8/10 off, right? I mean, you're the Stanford guy. I don't do math.
Yeah, that's 7.5 off. That's
there you go.
That's impressive right there.
That's a Tim Daggett green light. You know what I'm saying?
That would be a green light for sure.
And on high bar, that's tough to do too.
Yeah, there's so many angles on high bar. Everything you do should end at a handstand. If not, you're getting deducted, and a lot of room for knee bends, a lot of room for coming off the bar. So, yeah, putting up a 9.3 execution, 9.25 execution on high bars, no easy feat.
Oh, it's hard, man. Just if you're watching 15 degrees past handstand and you're just starting to get deducted on any skill going over the top. So, to know that as the person doing the skill, you don't fully know where you are. Oh, okay. We got a contender here, huh? Oh, he probably goes out though, right? Yep. There's the classic out to the Stalder. The out doesn't have to go to handstand if you do the Stalder right after it. Whoa!
Nice Coleman there. A little bit of a late catch, but...
Okay. Big late out to Kachev.
Nice straddle to Kachev.
Dude, he is getting after this, man. They gotta give J.R. Chow a Scooby snack after this meet, dude. There you go.
Great routine from JR and good way to end his night. One interesting thing, yeah, he's one of the captains. Him and Brody are the team captains this year. One interesting thing about JR's routine is he doesn't do anything in front giant grip. It's all back giant, so pretty unique, and I think it's interesting that he starts with his German giants. A lot of guys, like to do that at the end of the routine, but that's what works best from him, and obviously it works. So good set from JR.
Some guys say that the pike out is just so taxing on their stomach and their core that they try to get that done a little bit earlier on where they have some strength. Obviously, these are all big boy athletes that can, that are stronger, so that's probably not as big of a deal. But definitely can be different to do it in a different part of the routine. That was Josh Howard up there on the high bar throwing his Tkachev. He's going to be up next on high bar. So they're doing the same thing they did on P bars, getting a little bit. We saw 4 guys. Looks like they're going to warm up another 5 or 6 guys, and then we'll see them go. Whoa. Okay, Brandon. No need to hurt yourself during the one touch. Okay.
Yeah, that was a huge Coleman. Just needed to go behind the bar
or was
a
that a
little
Casino?
more. Oh, was it a Casino? I kind of just caught the tail end, but
I think it was a Casino, man.
Oh wow.
Does he normally do that?
I think so. Yeah, I know he's done it in the past.
I mean, he's he's built for it. Oh, there we go. There's that connection I was talking about. Now he missed the last one there, but obviously it's warm up. He's got a smile on his face. He knew he could have handled it. All right, here's our ringer from the Bandits, Curran Phillips. Whoa, big boy skills. You expecting to see anything new from Curran on high bar?
Sometimes he connects some Tkachevs. I don't know if he's competed that in the past, but
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what he's been doing, like what he did last year is a huge set. I think it's a 5.7 or 5.8. He's, in the past he did Casina, he did Coleman, he did some Tkachevs. So really,
does he connect those by chance? Any of the double flipping moves? Does he connect any of those?
He's trained it in the past.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's competed any of them, but he also does. Or at least he did. I don't know after his back, but he did a lot of talks. He did a really nice full talk, really nice half talk. So now we got Josh. Warm up's over. It's time to go.
Yeah, here we go. I think they only give him 2 minutes, right, in between that little period. Just get those little extra 2-minute one touches. So like I said, pick Josh up. He's supposed to compete for SoCal United, but he's going to Berkeley and living up there. So picked him up, wanted him to compete this meet. Hopefully it ends up helping out SoCal United in the long run. But for this weekend, we needed him. We needed him to compete and put down some scores. It's unfortunate to see him miss out to Tkachev there because he caught it in the warm-up. Hopefully he repeats it.
Yeah, that's one of the elements you're required to do. You're required to do a release element to get some extra points or kind of your base value points. So,
and that puts Thomas in a tough position because when you don't necessarily know how the athlete's going to do and you ask him to repeat a skill, you hope they make it. And he did. So that was a good move. Get that back in there. Get that requirement out. Free up circle from Giants. Flying Giant. Get yourself dirty. Okay, here we go. Load it up. Oh, no. Let his knees buckle a little bit. Took it out a little too far. All that momentum was going forward. Couldn't really save it. I don't think I saw a front giant in that routine either. Which is not required. But it's classically you see some front giant skills at least. And to see two guys not use the front giant grip, it's definitely something different. I'm going to have to watch closer now on elite routines because, I don't know, maybe that could be happening more often than I know.
Yeah, so JR put up a 13.75, tied with Nick. Great score for high bar. I think anything above mid-13 on high bar is really solid. So Brandon Briones is up. He's got a really, really big set, so hoping he can put it all together.
Yeah, let's keep him on the bar. Let's keep him safe. And he can bend this bar, man. He's just so strong. Usually guys that are taller, maybe a little bit heavier, bend that bar more and bounce it. But, he's got that strength and that mass to just pull that thing down. Jeez, that was a nice move.
Beautiful casino.
Oh, man. Didn't look like he was looking in the right place. Looked like he was looking like below the bar, just a little bit off in his air sense, huh?
Yeah, it looks like he just got a little bit stuck in that twist. Couldn't finish it all the way to be square with the bar.
Yeah, that thing was high, though. I mean, that looked higher than the casino.
Yeah, I agree. That was huge.
I mean, the skills are different, obviously. I mean, you throw yourself off the bar differently for the tuck move. You got to create more rotation for the laid out one. So, I get it, but man, that thing was big. It's awkward to think we're watching an Olympic alternate here.
Another big release. That's new as of this year. And a laid out Tkachev, really getting points in those releases.
Never bending his arm, not checking, really confident in what he's doing.
Nice full tuck, a little short of that handstand.
That was nice. Half tuck, though. All right. But yeah, like we said, every other event, you stick that dismount, it kind of erases a lot of other stuff that you're thinking about and the judges are thinking about. Definitely a good routine, man. You know, I mean, there's not much to take there, obviously, outside of that fall on the Coleman.
Yeah, great stick. He'll get a 10th back for that. Yeah, I mean, huge routine. Once he puts that together, that's gonna be big.
Yeah. Looking at the Bandits scores, you know, Will, if he hadn't have fallen, man, that would have been a 12-8. That would have been a reasonable score. He actually would have beat Arun there. You know, and obviously the last two guys, Albert and Josh, both had landing problems on their dismounts. Took some falls there. Bandits got to get it together. They've counted 3 falls now, so hopefully these last two guys with Evan and Curran can keep it on the bar, keep it on their feet, keep it sweet. But overall, not too bad for the Bandits. I got to say that. You know, I mean, there have been some falls, and they've done a couple awkward things. Andrew getting his foot stuck in the rings, you know. But otherwise, you know, pretty good for these club gymnasts that are not working out the hours that a lot of these NCAA gymnasts are, and don't have the facilities and the opportunities that these guys have. So I got to give them credit. They're doing a heck of a job out here, competing. First time in front of a crowd, big arena. Probably all of them competed in as juniors, you know?
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Was it cool for you to go from competing as a junior at the Stanford Open to being a college athlete?
Yeah,
it was the same arena.
Yeah, it was super cool. It was always fun competing. You know, when I was level 10, I got to compete in the college session a couple times, and that was super cool. And then kind of transitioning to the NCAA, you know, competing in that same arena and seeing the juniors compete with us. Super cool transition, kind of full circle moment.
Right. Yeah, here comes half talk Piatti. So, he didn't do it. Supposed to connect that right there if it's on. And that was a close one. Ooh. So, you know, when you do stuff like that, when you're trying to like actually save something, it takes a lot out of you. You know, and I'm sure you know that, Blake. You know, you start doing handstand push-ups on the high bar. You're doing exercise that you don't need to be doing. And when it comes to the end of the routine, it's like you have a bank of energy. And when that bank has been depleted, you gotta pull something out of the vault and get this dismount to happen right here. Well, not too bad. A couple little awkward steps there on the landing, but once he recovered, you got to give it to him. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just impressed how he was able to catch that close. I thought he was going to land on the bar for a second, but
that could have been chin music. That could have been chin music. That could have been finding teeth on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good recovery from Evan. You know, obviously not what he's looking for, but you know, sometimes those routines where you have to fight extra and figure out ways to make it work, that's where you really get better. So, you know,
yeah, you learn a lot from failing, right? I think that's like always and if you don't, then you're not doing it right.
Exactly. So now we got Brandon Wynn, anchor for Stanford on high bar, and he really gets after it. His releases are huge. He gets a lot of height, so I'm excited to see this high bar routine. We saw in the one touch, he did the 3 releases in a row, so I'm hoping to see that in his routine.
Yeah, man, he's got the length that really helps on a high bar. Little bit of weight, bend that bar down, treat it like a trampoline, bounce yourself off that thing. You know, he can really, really do the right things to make this event a good event for himself. Whoa, Zuliman started off. It's always a wild skill. Here we go. Here comes the circus. Oh!
I'm impressed he got that giant out. Yeah.
That's a strong boy. Okay, here we go. Here comes it. Oh! We all wanted it, but we weren't given it. Maybe a pike right here. Oh! You know, when you're coming to the end of the meet and you don't really have to throw down the hardest routine, maybe this is a strategy thing to make sure. And then you have that tough little happen.
Yeah, it looks like he's just playing it safe a little bit, which, you never want to play it safe on high bar. You kind of just want to get after it. So,
Especially on that skill, you play it a little bit too safe. It's like trying to stick too early. You're going to short that handstand instead of taking it over.
yeah, high bar's one of those
You think he's
events.
going to repeat it?
I would think so, given the circumstances of this competition. But high bar is one of those events where you don't want to tighten up. You don't want to, think too much. You kind of just want to let it flow and be free.
Yeah, you got to have the rhythm.
Yeah, the moment you tighten up, your releases get a little closer. Things aren't going to handstand.
So he didn't repeat it. He did it at half talk afterwards. Yeah, you were always good at hitting a good high bar routine, man. I don't remember you missing a lot. I could be wrong, but you always had some good rhythm. Oh, man, he was real off compared to his warm-up, huh? I thought his warm-up was a lot better than that, So I don't know if something happened there. Maybe the full twisting Takamoto overtired him out. But that's not like him. He could probably do a double-double if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's a great high bar worker, but just a little tight on that routine. He'll figure it out. But yeah, high bar was always one of my favorites, especially competing in Burnham Pavilion. It's always a good time. So
what's up, Koi? You see Koi say hi to us?
I did.
They should be able to hear us. They should put speakers next to the cameras. That would be a bad idea. I mean, at least with me commentating, maybe. We got Riley down there putting scores in. We got the national team putting in work outside of the events. You got Ian Gunther there, all doing what they need to help run the meet, make sure things happen.
Yeah, it's all a team effort to pull these things off.
Yeah, you would never see a football player on the sideline pulling the chain for the referee. See, is that a first down? Hold on, let's get the quarterback over here to move the chain. He's going to tell you. But here in gymnastics, like we said, the community is so small. Zach, why are you smiling at the camera, Zach? Someone tell Zach to go away, huh? I mean Jack. Sorry. Anyway, now Riley's looking. Now they got the sound on. That's what happened. They put the sound on and they decided, hey, let's hear what Scott has to say. So let's see. Hey, Koi, I like you better in cornrows. See, but I can't hear him. So did he? I wonder if he said something back to me. Is Ian growing some stubble there? Tell them to get away from the camera. Don't we have? Oh, Curran's not going. We didn't get to see that. We didn't realize that. So Curran was up on that, but then he didn't end up competing. So that is the end of the meet, folks. Sorry for wasting your time there at the end talking about these gymnasts. There's Taylor Burkhart. What's up, Taylor? So meet ends with Stanford scoring a 249.45 and the Bay Area Bandits scoring a 218.95. And like I said, I think I've seen Stanford beat, numerous teams in the NCAA by over 30 points. And those are teams that have the same opportunities that Stanford has with the facilities and the time they train and everything else. And so for the Bay Area team to come out here and keep it the way they did and do the routines they did, I think it was pretty respectable, and I think they did a pretty darn good job for where we are in the season.
Yeah, it's a great job. Looking at high bar results, Nick and JR tied for the title, both scoring 13.75, but like we said, super impressive 9.25 execution score from Nick. But yeah, overall great meet today. Great to see the Bay Area Bandit, put a team together and compete. And good to see Stanford, the depth they have, and use it as another step to continue the rest of the season.
Yeah, when you see a team come out and be able to put stuff together, and that in the background there's a bunch of national team members, it's hard to think that they're not going to do a ton better at the next competition. So yeah, here does the high bar scores all round. I think actually here we go, all round. So Evan, I think, did Stanford have anybody compete all round? Stanford didn't actually have anybody do all 6 events. It was only Elbert and Evan, but Evan put up a 75.25. Not too bad, as far as elite scoring, that's pretty good. I mean, I think he's going to obviously hope for better at Winter Cup, but for the gold medal for Evan, you know, you got to give it to him. You got to give it to these Bandit guys for two of the guys competed all around. One guy competed 5 events. Andrew Kersner competed 4, and you got Stanford out there, and the most any of their guys competed was 4. So once again, just a completely different situation between the two teams.
Yeah, got to give it up to Will Pierce too. Looks like he stuck 4 of his events, or 4 of his 5 events. So, you know, that's an impressive feat.
Yeah. Someone's talking to us right now. Someone was talking to us. All right. Well, I'm not sure what else there is to say here except for Blake. Blake, we got to do a shout out to your mom, Michelle Wilson. Heck of a supporter of the Stanford Gymnastics team and Blake through all the years. Obviously, you know, nothing against your dad, but I would always see your mom. You know, she's awesome. So I hope she hears this. I hope she got to enjoy watching you talk. It's been fun watching you grow up, go to Stanford and do all that, and now be able to commentate back. I hope that you feel like you can give back to the sport and keep all this camaraderie going. It's always great to be around Stanford guys. You guys have such a good will, and you know, you guys really bring the right spirit to the sport.
Yeah, appreciate it, Scott. Great to commentate with you today, and had a lot of fun. So, you know, big shout out to Verdius for letting me come on, and yeah, I look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yeah,
but thanks everyone for watching today.
Make sure you send those comments that I told you to Brody and the other guys. Okay, we'll be talking to them, so I will check on if you actually sent it to them or not.
I'll make sure to get it done.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.